live to the UK. News, information, entertainment, and the best music from the past 40 years. This is Play2UK. James Whale. Call 01243 55 60 60. Email studio@playradiouk.com. Skype play.radio.uk. Live and unleashed. The James Whale Radio Show on Play2UK with Blackadder Whiskies for discerning drinkers the world over. Visit us at playradiouk.com and discover the pure spirit of legend.
James Whale. Silence was never an option.
Okay, here we go. Oh dear, what's that? Doesn't sound like that's me, does it really? Now, how did that happen, do you think, Matt? We start the programme off and already you haven't put the studio in the way I would have liked it set up. I can't understand you, Matt, sometimes. I really can't.
You're working so hard.
No, man, don't give me all that crap again. I've had to sack that kid you were groaning around last night now. You know, for goodness sake. Now, listen, welcome to the programme, The James Whale Radio Show. Great news coming up for you a little later. We've got some great Play Radio UK news that's going to set the world of radio on fire. I'll tell you later. Not now, later. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we're here for a few more hours together on a Tuesday night. Always nice to be on the radio. The James Whale Radio Show. Live Monday and Tuesday from 8 on Play Radio UK. Tell your friends. Tell all your friends. Right, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, all sorts of stuff. In particular, I thought we might spend some time, I'm sure you have perused the McCann case again today. And if you have read any of the notes, you will see that the McCanns, I think, were treated appallingly unfairly. In fact, one of the interesting things is a number of people in this country, and there have been websites set up, accusing the McCanns of all sorts of things. There have been people who've tried to take out private prosecutions against the McCanns for being bad parents. There are scummy people in the world, and a few of them, unfortunately, are probably listening to this show at the night, at this time in the night. And if you think I'm talking about you, well, I could be, couldn't I? Scummy people who have nothing to do, nowhere to go, no friends, no family, nothing, I shouldn't think. Everybody's disowned them. Who have made it their life's work to try and be as nasty and vile to the McCanns as possible. A couple who have lost a child, no idea whether the child is alive or dead, where it is. Yet some people who work in the media as well, have taken it upon themselves to ridicule the McCanns without a thought for them. And I'm so glad that those people who've tried private prosecutions, who've tried setting up websites, those people who have in fact tried to make what is a tortuous existence for the McCanns at the moment even worse, you know who you are. Particularly the one pillock who complained about me once, having a go at them. You know who you are. I'm so pleased to see that one of the pieces of evidence that was made public today was the bar bill on the night that Madeleine disappeared, because some people had suggested that the McCanns and all their friends who were there had been having far too much to drink, weren't paying any attention to the children. And it was interesting to see the bar bill and the restaurant bill with hardly any alcohol on it at all. And the Portuguese police saying they had no intention, would not even consider having brought a prosecution against the McCanns for neglect of their children. Which I'm glad to hear said publicly. I wonder if the people who set up the anti-McCann websites, okay, the scum who would be the first out there in a crowd trying to lynch people, I wonder if those people are going to apologise. I wonder if the people who've been setting up these things, and some of them charging money to go on there, are these people going to now start apologising? Because if not, hopefully the bad publicity will soon come to rest on their shoulders. I'm hoping so. So again, I don't know whether you've read the stories about it, whether it's changed your mind. I know for the last year when I have talked about this, I have received some of the most vile, filthy, disgusting emails from some of the biggest perverts in the country who obviously get a kick out of picking on people who are going through a hard time. There's sort of people who laugh during an execution, those sort of people. And I wonder any of you have the guts to email me tonight and tell me that you have changed your minds. I shouldn't think so, really, because you're the sort of scumbags that give the internet a bad name. Right, so we talk about that tonight. Listen, a good piece of news, I think. I don't know about you. Good piece of news. Price of oil is going down. Nobody's buying it. The oil companies are bringing it down. Prices are beginning to tumble of all sorts of things at the moment, which could be good for the economy of this country. It could be even better if the government actually go ahead with their plan to stop stamp duty on house purchase. This could be a very, very good move, particularly for younger people trying to get on the property ladder. So, you want to talk about that? Anything else in the news that you want to talk about? Feel free. I'm here. I'm here to be pleased. I'm here for you to please me. This is a talk show. We'll talk about those issues. We'll talk about other issues. We'll talk about nothing. We'll have a bit of fun. I might slap Matt because he is, of course, infuriating, but he is, at the moment, the only person I can get to produce the show. Well, I'm not going to pay him, am I? So, we feed him and give him a can of lager that he drinks in the final hour of the programme. That's it. Now, after last night, I'm getting a bit pissed off about the amount of childishness that seems to... And there's a bunch of cretinous morons who put a programme out on Sunday night here on this station. And I blame them. I blame them for their childish antics on a... Have you not listened? Sunday night. Don't listen on Sunday night. It's appalling. It's probably one of the worst pieces of radio ever. So they've attracted some of these people who phone up and go... they've even attracted the occasional estate agent to listen and call in. So I have brought with me now a new member of the team called the Phone Führer. And the Phone Führer, who is a woman, who... Delightful. I wish you could see in there. She's dressed in black leather. Well, no, actually, it's not leather, is it? It's pretend leather. What would you call that? Faux leather. Yeah, faux leather. Shiny. It could be plastic, actually. Maybe it's plastic. I'm not sure. Anyway, the Phone Führer is here, and not to chat to you on the phone. So don't bother. When I give you the number to ring in, you don't have to chat to her. Who will not give us even here her proper name, but she's working for us on this program, and she's also she has her own debt collection agency as well. And if you could see her, you pay up. She's got the tightest leather sort of jumpsuit all in one with knee boots. She's got the biggest breasts I've ever seen, just stuck tightly in this top that doesn't do up. Got her hair tied tightly back in a ponytail, and she's wearing what can only be described as a sort of militaristic peak cap. I'm on my best behaviour not to put her on the camera in the studio, but I think I might. Well, I'll see. I might do later. She looks. But why? I mean, are we going into S&M at some time or something like that, Matt? Are we?
I thought it'd be something we might trial, you and I, behind closed doors.
Well, I don't know why I do it behind closed doors. So that's the Phone Führer in charge of the call. So when you ring this number, 01243 55 60 60, 01243 55 60 60, the Phone Führer will put you through, find out your name so that I will be able to say hello Susan, hello Ted, hello Angela, hello Bob, hello Marigold, hello Elephant Head, whatever it is. So we've now progressed to kind of proper radio now, having that. She wanted to be called a phone producer. I'm not actually sure that it's a he or a she, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm not fussed. It could be anything. So the Phone Führer is on the case. So if you want to ring, the Phone Führer will be very direct. Just ask your name and where you come from. That's all I want to know. I want to name and where you come from. Bob from Southport, Marjorie from Liverpool, Tom from London. That's all I need. I don't even need to know what you want to talk about. It's immaterial. You want to come on and talk. The number again is
01243
Yeah.
55 66.
A little slow, if I might say, Matt.
Sorry.
Right, okay. So that's the number. You want to ring, give us a call. Now, we've got some exciting news. Did I tell you some exciting news or not? I'm going to tell you later. Exciting news here at Play Radio UK, which I will tell you later. Now, if you want to watch the programme live tonight, on this camera here, you can, and you can watch and listen if you go to this website, NTTBS. N for Nolly, T for, well, I don't know, tulips.
Do you not know your phonetic alphabet, James?
No, is there a phonetic alphabet? What's that?
November, Tango, Tango, Bravo, Sierra.
Sounds like bloody police. I don't want
That's
anything to do
what
with
the
them.
phonetic alphabet is.
Oh, stuff that'll make me own up. N for knobs, T for tits, T for tiddlybits, B for bums, and S for sugar.
We didn't really need the bums because tiddlybits is actually 2 words, and that would have been the T and the B.
Oh, yeah. So N for knobs, T for tits,
Yeah.
then TB for tiddlybits, and S for sugar.
Yes.
Yeah. So there we are. Go to nttbs.com, click on watch, and email me. This shirt I'm wearing tonight, my wife doesn't like me wearing. Well, she says men of a certain age shouldn't go around in these sort of shirts.
What, polo shirt?
Yeah.
It's like a rugby shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
You look like a distinguished Lawrence Denali over
Yeah, well, there we are, you see. But she says, men, I mean, I haven't got a tum, but some men can sort of stand in them like that.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And you
They
don't-
look more like they're propping up a bar.
Yeah. So as long as you hold it, you hold it sort of fairly in, I think it's okay. Right?
You can't even tell.
No, you can't even tell. Exactly. Why should I worry? Okay, so, emails. That's what I forgot. Emails. Forgot to tell you the email line. studio@playradiouk.com. That's all you have to do. Right. So if you want to email, we've got a couple of emails already in. David Green. There's a name to conjure with. David Green. Isn't he of the... Isn't he from the Conservative family for the Conservative Society of the Family? Or is that somebody else? No, I'm sure it's a David Green. I don't think it's him. It may well be. I'm not sure. I got an email myself at home today from Terry and Tom and all their friends who are listening via my website at jameswhaleradio.com. And they said, we've been all over your website. You said there were pictures of Mrs. Whale naked. Where are they? Well, you don't think I'm going to put them there for everybody to find. You have to work for it. You know. Right, David Green emailed me. He said, last night you mentioned that you own a 4x4 vehicle. I've had some more bad news for you from the Daily Express today. As you know, every time you fill up with fuel, it costs an arm and a leg higher vehicle excise duty because you have a so-called non-green vehicle. And as I understand, you live in London. The congestion charge to deal with. Well, I don't wish to put you in a bad mood at the start of your programme, but I hope you don't live in the London borough of Lambeth, Richmond-upon-Thames, Camden, Haringey, Kensington or Chelsea, or have to park in them. It's been announced that these councils have introduced new parking permit fees to be based on fuel emissions, with much higher fees for 4x4s and non-green vehicles. They say that if successful, they wish to also apply the same fees to pay and display car parks. This is getting beyond a joke. As the story says, you are already being taxed by higher vehicle excess duty, and your car, when parked, emits the same CO2 as all others. Bugger all. We are already being charged too much to park in thousands of council-run pay and display car parks in the UK, and councils must be raking it in. And what the hell do they do with all their money? They put it in their pension fund, David. That's what they do. They put it in their pension fund, so all those smug little bastards who work for the local council can be even smugger when they retire, and you and I are living in the gutter. I thought that in London, I've heard this story, I thought that in London the new mayor, Boris the Bold, had actually decided to do away with this ridiculous law. That stupid little socialist pillocks can tell us what sort of flipping car we can drive. It's up to you guys. If at the next election anybody votes in any of the sitting MPs, they will only have made the thing worse. It's up to you. At the next election, David, local election, get out and vote the smug bastards out of power. That's what you have to do at the next election, my friend. I'm not saying the other lot will be any better, But if they keep getting the runaround, they're suddenly going to start remembering that we are supposedly in charge. So, councillors who think that they can charge you more because you have an can somebody actually tell me what is anti-green? You know, what is this green bollocks, all right? This green stuff. This snot. You know, nobody is saving the planet. Nobody is going to make the planet not perform the way it's going to perform. If I don't drive a big 4x4, the planet's not going to be any better off. Even if all those emerging superpowers stopped going through their industrial revolutions, the planet would not be better off. It's just rubbish. It's a lie perpetuated by rather thick, stupid people, like the thick, stupid people at the so-called climate camp outside the power stations. We should be building nuclear power stations by the million in this country. We need more power. We need cheaper power. And one of the best ways to get power is not from windmills. It'll fill in a few holes. It'll fill in a few holes. We should have wind turbines everywhere. But, of course, no, the namby-pamby ones don't want them there. They spoil the view. We should have wind turbines everywhere, but equally we need to have flipping great nuclear power stations. The politicians have let us down. Is it time for a renaissance? Is it time to sort of bring out the guillotine? Do you think?
That'd be good fun.
It would, wouldn't it? Like the French Revolution. Is that about I don't want to get rid of the royal family. Forget me. I like the royal family. They're the least of our problems, the royal family. If it wasn't for the royal family, we'd have nothing to laugh at, would we? Anyway, there we are. What else is going on? You tell me. Ring me. Oh, hang on.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Wrong phone, though.
Well, it's my phone. See what I've upset somebody now. How about Sunday the 24th? Are you listening, Davey, baby? Yes, Dave. You know the super DJ David Jensen. David Jensen. You know David Jensen?
Super DJ.
He's my mate, so be careful. David Kid Jensen.
I've not heard the name.
David Kid.
What kind of DJ?
You know David Jensen.
No.
You don't?
No.
How can you not David Kid Jensen?
Explain him to me and it might ring a few bells.
Drive Time. He's all over the places. Luxembourg, Radio 1, Capital.
Oh,
Capital
right.
Gold now.
Yeah. Many years ago.
Well, he's still on Capital Gold.
Yeah,
he's out there listening at the moment.
I don't listen to Capital Gold. I would have heard him on Radio 1 a few years ago.
Yeah. And Top of the Pops. Yeah, how miserable. You 24-year-old bunch of shit, really. You know, goodness sake, I can't believe it. Kids, I hate kids, smug kids. Anyway, David, if you listen, say, how about a curry on Sunday? Yeah. Good. Absolutely. I should ring him and put him on, shall I?
You can do.
Yeah. No, I won't now, because you've been rude.
I wasn't rude.
No, you were, everybody knows. It's like saying, Dave, Tony, you ever heard of Tony Blackburn?
Yes.
DLT?
Yes.
Okay. Johnny Walker?
I heard of him, but couldn't picture his face or...
Johnny Walker, one of the best, most brilliant DJs in the world. Did you not listen to the Pirates in the 60s?
James, I wasn't born till 79.
Oh, for goodness sake!
Listen to the Pirates in the...
I was starting on my second radio station in 79.
I look, you're old.
Oh, I'm gonna You see that bit of paper? It's your neck.
Sorry.
Okay, right, 01243 55 60 60. The phone Furor awaits your call. Let's get a few calls there. You could email me tonight at the usual address, studio@playradiouk.com. Okay, studio@playradiouk.com. And if you want to Skype us, you can Skype us by play.radio.uk. If you're a Skype fan, you'll know all you have to do is put in play.radio.uk. That's all you have to do.
Play2UK headlines.
People trying to buy a house may be given a break from one of the most unpopular charges. Stamp duty could be put on hold by the government. 1 in 3 11-year-olds are leaving primary school lagging behind in reading, writing and maths. SATS results have been released, even though some schools are still waiting for their final marks. There are some delays at Manchester Airport after a near miss between two planes. It involved a Futura flight to Tenerife and a Lufthansa service to Germany. And the stakes are high for Rangers tonight as they bid to reach the final qualifying round of the Champions League. Walter Smith's men are in Lithuania to play little-known outfit FBK Kaunas.
Play2UK weather.
That'll be me then, having a look at the weather. It's your friendly DJ doing the weather. I've lost it. Oh, no, I've got it in front of me. How ridiculous is that? Here's the weather. Overcast, basically. Okay, overcast across Northern Ireland and Scotland with outbreaks of rain elsewhere. It will be cloudy with intermittent light rain, although some parts could stay dry. It's a mixture of everything, isn't it, really? The outlook for tomorrow, Wednesday, Scotland, Wales and Western England will be cloudy with outbreaks of heavy rain. Elsewhere, that's a very popular word in the weather forecast. Elsewhere, it will be brighter, but heavy showers are also expected, so more of the same.
You're up to date on PlayTwoUK.
Ellington Lodge Hotel at the Concord Club, a unique place to stay. Set in quiet woodland near Lakeside Country Park, Ellington Lodge is ideally suited whether your stay is for business or pleasure. Our Mouldy Fig Wine Bar offers a comfortable, relaxed atmosphere, serving food, wines and local real ales, with live jazz music 3 nights a week and alfresco dining in the summer months. Visit our website, theconcordclub.com, for further details.
If you want to increase your profits, go the extra mile for your customers, and bring loyalty to your business, then you need Play in Store. In-house or online, Play in Store is your personal, made-to-measure music and marketing tool. Using the latest technologies, you can create your own tailor-made music and messaging service, which until now has been unaffordable to everyone but the biggest businesses. Get more from your business by creating your own radio station. Go to playinstore.co.uk.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies for discerning drinkers the world over. Visit us at PlayRadioUK.com and discover the pure spirit of legend.
Yes, our friends at Blackadder Whiskey. We thank them very much indeed. Blackadder Whiskey, the discerning drink for the discerning drinker. But if you like Matt, you can't drink it. You can't drink it because it's not for those people who don't know about whiskey.
You don't even let me look at it.
No, I won't even. I've taken it home now. I need another bottle, by the way, Roy. Robin, isn't it? Robin, not Roy. Robin Blackadder.
Next week we'll have a bottle of whiskey to give away on the show.
Yeah, and you won't be allowed to look at that one either.
Oh.
Peter Collins says these pathetic oiks who like kicking the McCanns when they're down are just as bad as perverts. They are as what is known as web warriors who hide behind websites, making their sick accusations, but would not have the guts to say what they say to the McCann's faces. Oh no, these web warriors, like the title, like the little cowards they are, never show their faces. But let's face it, James, we live in a sick country at the moment, including members of our media. And let me repeat, for those morons who want to have a go at the McCanns, Peter from Birmingham goes on. Well, no, I think Peter's upset. He's probably referring to Randy Lawford, made up name, I would imagine. Probably dresses up and calls himself Randy Crawford. Who says, again, you know when people are doing it for effect. I really want to hear people who believe what they're saying. This is an effect email. This is not an email from somebody who believes this. This is an effect email. I haven't changed my view on the McCanns at all. The fact that Portuguese police have closed the case doesn't prove anything. Not even the McCanns' private investigators could find anything at great cost, mainly to the public. They still showed the intelligence of 2 pieces of plywood stuck together with stupid glue by leaving their children alone in a hotel room while they went out to get drunk. That's actionable, by the way. And I would be suggesting to the McCanns that you could actually take an issue with this pillock. Randy Lawford at... I got into trouble actually once for giving somebody's email out.
Yeah, unfortunately you'll get into trouble again. It's the law of the land.
Is it?
Yeah, data protection.
Yeah, data protection people said no, it was because it was a threatening email.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it was actually the email address. I don't care. I really don't care because this is disgusting. And you know this person you've met. This person you've met. I'm surprised that you met. I'm really going to have to take you under my wing and give you some kind of treatment, I think, is what you're going to need. Maybe I shall force feed you a bottle of Blackadder whiskey. No. That would be such a waste. It would be a waste. No, that would be a waste, actually. A terrible waste. So anyway, this pillock, Lawford, whatever his stupid name is, goes on. They still can. Well, actually, I can't read this out because it's all actionable.
Is it?
It's all actionable. You know, he's accusing them of things. You should have read this first before you gave it to me. Although I would probably end up in prison or having my other child taken away, as I'm not a middle-class doctor or a... you're a prat. I'd like to get my hands on you, just sort of lightly around your neck and squeeze. Well, that's disgusting. You should have nothing to do with people like that. The McCanns have had to put up with a lot, and they decided to use the media because they were able to, and they're articulate and good people, I believe. They were able to use the media, and then when the media thought they could have a little go, then the slugs, like that prat, and the others who know who they are, came out and really had a go at them. And if you actually take the trouble, that one probably can't read. You see what I mean when you read that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
As a producer, I would suggest you don't give your presenter stuff that you haven't read through first of all. Just giving you tips as we go along.
Well,
You know, look what I did yesterday to your boyfriend, okay? Now we've got the phone Führer in, who so far hasn't let any phone calls on, which is a bit of a worry. So could I have some intelligent ones ringing up? So anyway, I think it is about time we had a few people saying that they were sorry, particularly people in the media. And if you read through the interesting thing, and Matt has read through it today so that he could brief me on it, and hopefully he understood it. He was surprised at the rather stupid questions that the Portuguese police insisted on asking.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder whether police have just... Are we getting less intelligent people in the police worldwide?
Yeah.
I would think we probably are.
I've never really trusted foreign police anyway.
Why?
Just because I think being English in a foreign country and having to deal with the police, that's already an agenda they have with you.
Yeah.
Because of reputations from the past that we've probably, quite rightly given ourselves, but, whereas we kind of live by the rule that everybody is different but equal, foreign police kind of live by the rule that everybody is different but equal apart from the English, you need to go to prison now.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure you do. One question. Why had the curtain behind the sofa in front of the window been disturbed? Had someone passed behind the sofa? Possibly. Why would you ask a question like that?
Exactly, but these are things that nobody will ever know or remember. They've been out to dinner and come back and they said, would somebody move the curtain? Well, they might have done, I mean...
Why did you say from the start that Madeline had been abducted? If you went into your apartment and your child wasn't where you expected him, what would you think? Yeah, knowing full well that your child would not go out on their own. When you raised the alarm in the tapas, what specific words were used? If any of you have read these questions, I hope... do British police make a better fist of this? I hope so. Or maybe we start getting members of the media to start doing interrogations, do you think? It's quite interesting. Have you ever been interviewed by the police? Yeah. I have several times. Yes. And it's a bit obvious, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, right. 01243 55 60 60. A couple more emails for you here. This one came from Dr. Schrover. Dr. Schrover from sunny Holland. What's hello in Hollandese? Or Dutch, for those of you who don't know.
I don't know.
Nor do I. I just asked. So. What's hello for in Dutch?
It's going to be a cross between hello in French and hello in German, isn't it?
Bonjour and jawohl. Bon jawohl.
Maybe.
No. Finally found you again. I remember the day I used to watch your show on Friday nights, just after 1 o'clock, right after The Hitman and Her on TV. Yes, those were the days. Do you know, since we started that programme, I was talking to Pete Waterman about this the other day, because he used to do The Hitman and Her, and then we used to come on with my programme on ITV in the 90s, and it's nearly 20 years ago.
Wow.
So we thought we'd do a programme called 20 Years Ago Today.
Why not?
With clips of the old TV show, which were... No, you were old enough to see that. Could you say hello to my mum, Susan, who's your #1 fan? And she's in bed now, and we'll listen to this on the podcast tomorrow. Cheers, Bram, now staying in sunny Holland. All right, hello. Where's my horn?
Oh, I forgot to...
Did you? Never mind. I was going to give a quick honk on the horn for his mum, Susan, who is staying in Holland. Phone Führer says, yes, all hail me. What's this? Oh, I see. I was just going into the chat room, having a read of it on the screen, came up before me. Phone Führer hasn't had a lot to do, really. 8:30 on a Tuesday night. There we are. That's for Susan. Honk on the horn. Driving tonight, because we're beginning to get people listening to the programme now who can find us whilst they're driving, because, of course, there is ways. Wi-Fi radios for the car. And picking up Wi-Fi radio stations on your mobile phone and stuff like that. Patricia Young said, I have missed you on... I'll leave that one, shall I talk? When can I break this news?
Let's say 10 minutes after the ad break.
All right, okay, 10 minutes. And there's another one there, so I'll do those two together. I will do those two together over there. Right. I was going through some other stuff, actually. Yeah, my former Steve Wilkinson, interesting. I didn't hear my former colleague today going on about fat kids, but apparently he said parents who allow their kids to play with fat children should be ashamed. I think it's tongue-in-cheek. You've got to understand it's tongue-in-cheek. The person who made that comment is probably one of the fattest people I know. I'm all for freedom of speech, James. When you get sacked for alleged comments that matter little to people's personal political views, and that man on that station gets to increase his radio shows for making awful comments that should be considered disgusting, worry me. Steve in Dorset. Well, you see, Steve, you're listening. So he's obviously doing a good job, Steve, and that's the measure of a good radio show or a TV show. Because if you are listening to the show, then obviously the show is doing what it has to do. Seamus says, Matt doesn't know the kid because he, Matt, still wears a nappy. That's not very nice, is it? Do you?
It's true.
Is it? Oh, dear.
I wear huggies. I'm a big kid now.
You can get incontinence pants for your size. I suppose the other story, this whole thing that I'm sure everybody's seen and getting a bit sick of, fat kids and what can you do? Well, they come from fat parents. Fat kids and fat parents. And now you're not allowed to use the word fat or obese, but apparently teachers have got to write to the parents of fat kids and tell them that their children are overweight and they should do something about it. Well, how are they going to know? And, you know, what's somebody going to say to the teacher? OK, well, I might be able to do something about my kids' overweightness. What are you going to do about your ugly face, missus? This is the most stupid... Who came up with this idea? Another prat in Parliament, I suppose. Yeah, it is a shame that there are fat kids, and, of course, kids are very cruel. But the problem here is... In fact, today I was talking to Ken Livingstone, who's gone off to Beijing now to watch the Olympics. But it's all right. The Chinese are paying for it, not you and me. And he was saying it's a difficult problem. How do you get these people to actually know, or to... Have you ever seen in supermarkets... I don't go into many supermarkets because I find the people who shop in supermarkets not the sort of people I want to be near. Have you ever seen... People in supermarkets wear velour tracksuits, and they stuff their trolleys with all the bad shit.
Well, that's only chavs, really.
Chav? Well, the supermarkets are for chavs, I'm sorry.
My mum shops in a supermarket.
So your mum's a chav. Don't take it personally, but it's obvious your mum's a chav when I look at you.
How dare you talk about my mum?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to be cruel, but your mother, bless her, obviously didn't know how to bring a child up properly. Look at you. Look at you. 4 of you. Oh, my God. You see, my idea is every boy baby is sterilised at birth. If you sterilise every boy baby at birth, and then, when they want to breed, if they are of the right age, right intelligence, and right amount of cash to bring up their own kids so it's not a drain on society, then they can have a licence for 1 child. And then chavs would have be bred out, wouldn't they? Mm. You'd have no more chavs. And it's the same with fat kids. You know, fat kids come with... Have you seen them in the supermarket? The fat mother with a fat stomach hanging over her velour tracksuit. The fat kids walking behind, and the fat father wearing shorts and huge tattoos up his legs and his arms. Have you got tattoos?
No.
Good. At least that's one saving grace, isn't it? Yeah, good. Okay. So that's Fat Kids. There's another lovely bit here. Whilst I'm on a roll here.
We have an answer to hello in Dutch.
Okay.
It's either
Careful! Do you trust the people who gave you this?
Yes.
Come on then.
It's either hollow, that's H-A-L-L-O, hoi, which is H-O-I, or dag, which is D-A-G.
Yeah, dag. Right, you remember that yesterday we talked a bit about this story, which was in the Mirror, about the Tories accusing lads' mags of encouraging men to see women as sex objects. Nothing wrong with that, is there? As long as, you don't... I think.
I don't think there's anything wrong with lads' mags at all. I think it's... Well, I mean, if you want to buy porn, you've got to get it from the top shelf, and it's all covered up and stuff. Lads' mags kind of...
It's not porn.
No, it's not porn.
It's just...
It's like
it's showing lovely ladies.
When you're young, you read the Beano, and then when you get a bit older, you perhaps move up to something a little bit older, and then you move on to like lads' mags, and then you get into porn. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, but it's not porn. I mean, it's just... and do you want... Are they trying to say, well, why don't people who are not attractive get into these magazines? Well, who wants to look at ugly people? Do you want to see ugly people in these magazines?
No.
No. The Tories yesterday accused lads' mags encouraging men to see women as sex objects, despite a Tory female high flyer once writing bedroom tips for one magazine. Children's spokesman Michael Gove, silly name, said magazines such as Nuts and Zoo promoted the idea that women should be readily available for easy sex. Well, some are. Some men are and some women are. That's a free country, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if men pick up wrong messages and start trying to come on to women who aren't interested, then they need to be locked up. But, some men and some women...
I don't know why men come on to women who aren't interested, because,
Because they're thick.
Well, if you're going to spend all that money buying drinks for a woman who's not interested, and at the end of the night is going to go home after a free night out but leave you in the lurch, why don't you just hire a prostitute?
Yeah, exactly. And why don't we legalise prostitution?
Yeah.
Legalise prostitution, legalise drugs, and society would be a lot better off. Seriously, I'm serious about that. If you legalise drugs, it'll take it away from the criminal element and free up the police to actually chase proper criminals who are out there. Because most of the time they're chasing after people who are involved in drugs. So if you take drugs away from criminals, you'll stop that to a certain extent, won't you? Prostitution seems to me to be a business that has been run for hundreds and hundreds of years, and you're never going to stop it. Just before we take the break, Mr. Gove yesterday said titles such as Nuts and Zoo paint a picture of women are permanently lascivious. What? Lasciviously. Is that how you spell lasciviously? Uncomplicatedly available. Maths, exactly the same. The images they use reinforce very narrow conception of beauty and a narrow conception of beauty. Do you see any ugly women in Zoo or Nuts? No, nor do I. But Mr. Gove, who's a bit of an ugly man... Sorry, Gove. But come on, you're talking about what people look like. I mean, oil painting, mate, are you? The images they use, he says, reinforce a very narrow conception of beauty and a shallow approach towards women. We should ask those who make profits out of encouraging selfish irresponsibility among young men what they are doing.
Very well worded email.
No, this is out of the newspaper. The relationship between these titles... This is what the politician's saying. The relationship between these titles and their readers are a relationship in which the rest of us have no interest. He's a pillock, this man. One Tory who certainly does have an interest is Louise Bagshaw, who is on David Cameron's A-list of prospective candidates at the next election. Louise wrote for Lads Mags, or the Lads Mag Maxim in 1999. I know Louise, by the way. She's written some books. She's made a lot of money out of it. Advertising the way to snare a woman was to pin her arms across her back, kissing her hard, then pushing her down on the sofa. She carried on the same romantic vein by saying women wanted a predator in the bedroom adding the occasional sexist comment doesn't hurt. A Tory spokesman defended Louis' prospective candidate for Corby. She's got no chance of getting in Corby, saying this was a light-hearted piece written nearly 10 years ago. Publishers yesterday accused Mr. Gove of using lads' mags as a scapegoat. Periodical Publishers Association said Michael Gove raises deep and complex social issues which reach far wider than simply reading a magazine. These politicians talk such shit, don't they? They open their mouths and it pours right out.
Imagine what it's like waiting. Just waiting. Waiting with your life on hold. Waiting for an organ transplant. This year, around 1,000 people in the UK could die waiting, simply because there aren't enough donors. More of us need to join the NHS organ donor register, so please, don't wait. Join the register now. Call 0845 60 6400 or visit uktransplant.org.uk.
Ellington Lodge Hotel at the Concord Club, a unique place to stay. Set in quiet woodland near Lakeside Country Park, Ellington Lodge is ideally suited whether your stay is for business or pleasure. Our Mouldy Fig Wine Bar offers a comfortable, relaxed atmosphere, serving food, wines and local real ales, with live jazz music 3 nights a week and alfresco dining in the summer months. Visit our website, theconcordclub.com, for further details.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies award-winning single malt. Visit PlayRadioUK.com and have the pure spirit of legend delivered to your door.
Okay, thanks to our friends at Blackadder Single Malt Whiskey, the most delicious drink for the connoisseur of single malt whiskey.
Silence was never an option.
No, true. Absolutely true, absolutely true. Right, a little later we'll be talking to David Sugar. My brain is going... What? Derek, yeah. Derek Conway. Why did I was going to say David Davis. But anyway, never mind.
About 20 minutes.
Yeah. Is it time for me to reveal this news yet or not?
Well, let's take this call from Terry on Skype.
Okay.
And then we'll reveal the news.
All right, okay, we'll take a call from Terry on Skype. We've got a couple of calls coming in now. If you want to join us here at 8:45 on the James Whale Radio Show tonight from Playradio UK, thanks for joining us. Tell your friends we're here Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday from 8 o'clock until midnight, online at Playradio UK. You can also get it through jameswhaleradio.com. So tell your friends, tune in Tuesdays, Mondays and Tuesdays now, from 8 until midnight. Right. Do you think someone can get me a cup of tea?
I can get you a cup of tea once the news is on. If you can wait 20 minutes when you're chatting with Derek, I'll then service your needs.
Will you?
Yes.
Okay, right,
so
okay.
We've got Terry on Skype.
All right, Terry's on Skype. Hi, Terry.
Tuesdays, Mondays, Tuesday now.
Terry gets to pull the fader down. Pull the fader down. Terry's going to have to turn his media player off. I'll chat to him and get him to call back.
All right, okay.
But we have Gary from Catford on line 1.
Gary from Catford, you're on the air. Gary, hi. Maybe not.
I think you have to push the button.
No, did I not press the...
No, you've dropped him now.
Oh, no. Do you know, some night... Gary from ring back, Gary, because I just cut you off because I'm not doing what I've been doing, so I forgot. It's been a hard week. No, it has been a hard week. It's been a very hard week. I'm building up to Bid TV on Friday. Looking forward to my little stint on Bid TV with the girlies on Friday, 4:30 until 7:30 live. Get us on Freeview on TV or Bid TV. Bid.tv or bid.tv, isn't it? Right, sorry, I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to go to Gary now. I had a lot to drink on Saturday night and I haven't really recovered. I haven't really recovered at all, to be honest with you. Right, Robin, hi, you're on the air. Was it Robin? No, was it Gary from Catford? Yeah, Gary, I get confused. You have no calls and you get loads coming in at once and can't cope. Gary. Well, I pressed it, I put the fader up, so do you think the phone Führer doesn't know what she's doing, really?
Might be. I'll just go.
Yeah. Do you think that's a problem from the phone Fuhrer or not? It could be. It could be. Are you there, Gaz? Let's see. Hello, Gary. Hello, Gary from Catford. Not there. No. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll check it out before long. Oh dear.
Right.
Go on.
Let's announce the.
What was wrong with it?
I don't know, but we've sorted it, I believe.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, this is from Dino, who's always regular here on the show. It's quite funny. He said, I was wondering if you have any news on whether Alan Watt... listen, Dino, you asked us if we could get Alan Watt on the show. We're working on it. You know, you can't just get Alan Watt or anyone on the show.
You don't just put Alan Watt in Google and find his mobile phone number. It's not.
Which you did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. His website is cuttingthroughthematrix.com. All right, which our friend is gonna get hold of. His articulate, intellectual insights bring a whole new level of understanding to the so-called hidden forces that control our lives from cradle to grave. We're going to do this. Don't worry about this, Dino. In Dudley, we are on the case, and I've heard him speak, and I think he'd be a great guest on the programme. So we will do that. Right, what are we going to do now? Did you see the story about Martin?
I've just printed it off for you.
Oh, right, okay. I was just going to read it off the screen, which makes it...
But we've worked this out, that I print them off for you.
Oh, right, okay. Gives you something to do, yeah. Right. But then you've got to get up and rush out and come back. Which makes it really difficult. Let me remind you, if you want to email us, studio@playradiouk.com, studio@playradiouk.com. Phone the programme 01243 55 60 60, 01243 55 60 60, and come through to the phone Fuhrer, who would get your name, where you're calling from, and then we'll have a chat on the air. Now, where's the one I was reading before?
Underneath that one, I believe.
Oh, right, okay. Did you see the story about what Martin Bashir said in a speech on London and also Telegraph website? See link. I didn't know. Could you get that up and find out what Martin Bashir said? He's always shouting his mouth off, Martin Bashir. Met him once. He's rather boring. Dag in Dutch means day, you pillocks. This is from Dean again. Thank you, Dino. I'm being guided by my producer. As in Mandag, Dinsdag, Wansdag, Dondag, Vergedag. I think that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Anyway, as a lover of all things Dutch, apart from the ex-girlfriend, they normally just say hello or hi. Most people speak English over there anyway. Cheers, Dino in Dudley. Thank you, Dino. How come you're still in Dudley, Dino? Why don't you get yourself over there to Holland? Right. Can I answer these calls yet or not?
When I'm told that they're on.
All right. Okay. This is from Dave Cordingly. Hiya, Dave. Listen to you. He said, for donkey's ears, can you ask your technical bod? This must be you.
Probably.
Is a Roberts WM202 DAB internet radio? Are they any good? And what's the best? What?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
And what's the best way to go about getting Wi-Fi connection? Roberts are usually brilliant. As a matter of interest, Roberts radios usually good. The spotty oiks in curries don't appear to know their arse from their elbow. I told you that before. I don't know why anybody would actually employ some of the people they get in these. So you go into one of these shops and you say, "Look, can you tell me, is that any better than this?" And the bloke looks at you sort of inanely and goes, "I don't know. Well, I come in here to spend couple of hundred quid on a camera. Could you tell me anything about this camera?" Well, I mean, if you were to, ridiculous. Okay, right. 01243 55 60 60. The phone Fuhrer seems to be getting her knickers in a twist. But there we are. Well, all the phones are ringing, and she's sitting there looking sort of...
Right, okay.
Well,
he's lining one up and he's telling me who it is.
All right, okay. So, Dave Cordingly, thank you very much indeed. Are you still doing Sky News on Thursdays? Just a thought. What are the odds... Wait and listen, Dave Cordingly. Wait and listen. Got some interesting news for you in a minute. Yeah, I am doing. I'm not doing it this week because I'm doing something else this week. But I'm doing it next week. In fact, they wanted me to do Sky News tomorrow, And I can't do Sky News tomorrow because and I feel really bad about it because they rang. I said, "Oh, could you just do tomorrow?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I had to say no because I forgot. Well, I get home at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and they send a car for me at 5. I can't do it. On 2 hours sleep.
No, it's tough, isn't it?
And then I've got this TV show.
Right, we now should have Gary on line 1.
Okay, let's try. Gary. Hello, Gary. I suggest, guys, that your equipment is not doing what it should be doing at the moment. Hang on. Now you've turned me off. Right, Gary.
Good evening, James.
I don't know what was going on. Yeah, I can.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm just going to... Can you hang on just a minute?
Yeah, sure, no worries. Yep.
Don't do it again. You do that again, and I will really give you a call.
Jesus, James!
Yeah, shut up. Sorry, Gary. Beg your pardon.
Tell Matt.
Yeah.
I didn't tell Matt I didn't hear a thing.
No. It just, he's not checked the desk. It's like having a co-pilot flying an aeroplane, and he's not made sure we've got enough fuel.
Basic producing, really, isn't it, James?
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
It's not that good yet.
I haven't rung up to berate Matt anyway.
All right, no, because I'll do that. You don't have to.
Yeah, no, that's you. I don't want to take away your pleasure.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah.
I'd have to admit, I've got a confession, and I've probably always been a bit sceptical about the McCann issue. Mm. But I have been reading some of the information, and particularly some of the questions that Madeleine McCann's mother, her name, Kate McCann, was asked. And these questions that she supposedly, a lot of people in the press have read a lot of the fact that she said no comment to a lot of them. A lot of the questions, James, I have to say, are very, very, if that invasive, if that's the right word, intrusive, and not at all sympathetic to the fact that a mother has just lost her daughter. It's all it says.
Can we just clear this thing up? Because I thought when it was reported today, they didn't make it clear. When you're being questioned, and presumably she must have had a solicitor with her, and when you're being questioned like that, a solicitor will tell you, don't say anything. Because sometimes, even if you're completely innocent, and they ask you some of these ridiculous questions, you can easily incriminate yourself by saying anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether you've ever been interviewed by the police, but I have on a few occasions, and quite frankly, they never have a sense of humour.
I've never had that, but I have sat on a jury where one of my jury duties that I've done, where one of the defendants didn't answer anything, and quite clearly the judge told us, quite rightly so, that he's within his rights to do so. And that you are not to read anything into the fact that he chose not to answer questions at that time. That is his legal right. And you're right, in the many pages in the newspaper, probably most of them have put very smallly, that under Portuguese law, she was within her rights not to answer those questions. And as you're right, there is no mention of her legal representation, but it would have been, it's almost guaranteed she had some.
But you see, also, look at the Barry George case. Now, I never thought for one moment, and talked about it a lot, after he'd been found guilty on the radio, because it seemed to me, just reading about the case and then reading about the evidence that they had, which seemed to be really circumstantial and very flimsy, and looking at the man and reading about the man himself, that this is ridiculous. It's not as simple as people think, and being on a jury is a worry to me, because if you get a few people who as soon as you open your mouth, somebody's going to make a decision on what sort of person you are.
Well, I think that was very interesting. I remember talking to a number of fellow jurors, and it was very interesting to get the opinions of how people made those snap judgments. There was I don't know if you remember, James, there was a very good program on Channel 4 probably about 7 to 8 years ago, where people had to award money to a group of 5 people based on their impressions of them. And the first round, in which they had to whittle down these people to 4, was purely based on a photograph of this person. They had to decide to discount somebody from taking away the opportunity to win some money just based on a photograph, or a very brief, like, hello, my name is. And then later rounds were kind of more in-depth, like how would they deal with a moral situation, what were they planning to spend the money on. They could lie, but I mean, obviously, none of the people making the decision knew that. And it was fascinating, the reasons that people gave to discount somebody just based on appearance, based on a first impression. It was scary.
No.
How people tried to justify it, other than saying, hey, it's just a game, I'm just picking that bloke.
Yeah, no,
which
absolutely.
is what you think they would do.
Absolutely, and I think the best advice is quite often when you're being interviewed by the police, even if you I mean, I have occasionally been interviewed by the police, and one time when I'd been taken in because I don't really care. I mean, because I caught somebody who was nicking some stuff from my garden in a house I lived out in the wilds of Yorkshire at one particular point in time, and they thought I'd been a little overzealous in this, and they took me in. They also took my wife in.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't.
Was she holding him down while you were hitting him?
Well, not really, but the upshot really, my son and I at the time picked this guy up and threw him over a 6-foot gate.
Right. But he was in your property, aren't you?
Absolutely. And we threw him out and called the police. And the police said, oh, well, you know, we're busy. And one of us, I think it was probably me, said, well, okay, well, then we're probably going to end up killing him. And put the phone down. And then they were there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, what a surprise.
But I found the whole thing funny. And the cops got more and more annoyed. And when you said something sarcastic, okay, you know, you have to be very careful, because when it's read back to you without any sarcasm in it, it sounds very incriminating.
This is why I hate, I mean, I know the world uses email, but this is why I hate using email for certain things. Email is a very hard thing to detect comedy or irony or sarcasm, which I think is a mainstay of the British sense of humour. And a defence mechanism a lot of people use. It's very hard to use.
My wife emails people who email me. I don't email because of what you say, because I put too much in, and she says, you don't need to put this in, just put this, this and this. And I said, that's a bit rude. She said, yeah, and they'll probably think you're taking the piss. So so I have to be careful. But you must, you know, you have to be very careful. And this whole business of putting these things in the paper, I think, because I've always thought the McCanns were really appallingly treated, you know, bad enough to have your child taken away, let alone have some stupid people suggest that you probably were involved, and then not go after or look for anyone else, which is obviously what happened. They are going through a living hell, and will continue to, and have to put a brave face on it, because they have 2 other children that they have to look after.
With the greatest, well, James, every passing hour is less likely that they're going to find her with regret.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's been the case from day. You know, and that's the horrible thing, is however much people want to write about how much they think it's suspect about where they were and what they were doing and how much they spent and all these things that have come up, still what's overlooked is that this girl is missing and more than likely, regrettably, now dead.
Gary, thanks for your call. Nice to talk to you.
That's a pleasure, James. Take care. Speak soon.
Right, okay, if you want to join us, 01243 55 60 60, that's the number to ring if you want to come on the air. 01243 55 60 60. You can Skype me, play.radio.uk, or you can email us at studio@playradiouk.com.
Okay.
What?
So we've got to have the ad break now.
I'm going to.
Out of the ad break, if you can break the big news, and then when you've broken the big news, we'll have Derek Conway.
And it is big news. It is huge, huge news here at Play Radio UK. Don't go away.
Here at Play Radio UK, we're dedicated to providing you with a fully interactive website and music service. Choose from 11 stations playing all kinds of music 24 hours a day. While away the hours with loads of games in the playground. Interact with other users and find answers to all your technical problems in the forums. Find out who's on when, what we're up to and what we look like. Although some of us are more photogenic than others. PlayRadioUK.com. Internet radio, your way. Broadcasting live to the UK. News, information, entertainment, and the best music from the past 40 years. This is Play2UK. James Whale. Call 01243 55 60 60. Email studio@playradiouk.com. Skype play.radio.uk. Live and unleashed. The James Whale Radio Show on Play2UK with Blackadder Whiskies award-winning single malt. Visit playradiouk.com and have the pure spirit of legend delivered to your door.
James Whale. Silence was never an option.
Okay, welcome back. The James Well Radio Show. Good evening. You missed an hour. Where were you? If you want to join us live on the show tonight, you can call me now. You know the number, 01243556060. The James Well Radio Show brought to you with Blackadder Single Malt Whiskey for the discerning drinker. Blackadder Single Malt Whiskey for those people who know what they're putting in their mouth. Blackadder Single Malt Whiskey that has been in the cask for 11 years, in the bottle for a few more. A single malt whiskey that is only for those people who know what they're doing. To be drunk carefully. To be enjoyed. Not to be abused. Okay, we're very, very, very grateful to our friends at Blackadder for sponsoring the show. Right, so here we go. If you want to join us, 01243556060. I did say we had some great news to bring you here at Playradio UK. And it'll be good for Dave Cordingley, who suggested that this might be a good thing to do. And for Pat Young, hello Pat, who emailed me the other day, and Sharon Livingston from Travel Magazine, who I'm sure will be appearing on the programme too. Mr. Mike Mendoza, who used to work with me at what now is called The Other Place, is next week joining Playradio UK, and he will be doing the show 8 o'clock until midnight on Wednesday and Thursday. So I shall be here Monday to Tuesday. Mike Mendoza will be here on Wednesday and Thursday doing his show with all his usual guests. He'll have the money expert and the travel expert, and he'll have the holiday expert, and he'll have the expert. So Mike Mendoza joins Playradio UK from next week for Wednesday and Thursday. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. The real home of talk across the nation, across the world, at Playradio UK. Right, okay, the lines are open. What are we going to do now? Am I going to talk to Mr. Conway now?
We do have Mr. Derek Conway.
Yeah. Across the world. Well, Derek Conway.
I'll make you a cup of tea.
Make me a cup of tea, because that would be nice. Derek Conway, who I think is probably hiding out in Northumberland somewhere at the moment, I'm not sure. Is that where you are or not?
James, I am, and it's pouring with rain.
Oh, good. Well, it's been pouring with rain everywhere.
Well, it's been lovely till tea time, and
yes.
Now the rains have opened.
Well, now, listen, let me welcome to Playradio UK, the home of free speech.
Lovely to talk to you.
And this is where I spend my Mondays and Tuesdays, usually, in the evening until midnight.
Keep you out of mischief. Very good thing, too.
Tries to, yes. And, of course, we're being heard all over the world at the moment.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be nice to have a chat about certain things. I'm a little concerned about your friend Mr. Cove and knocking the nuts, but there we are. Really, are you keeping up to date with this now or not? Because I
not
never
really.
I know, because Mr. Conway, who has been most unfairly treated in the media about what he is and isn't supposed to have done in the way of claiming expenses, and then afterwards, Derek, we find a whole host of people from all political parties who seem to have kept very quiet whilst you were being ridiculed.
About 200, yeah.
Yes. And you've decided not to stand to the next, or are you going to change your mind now?
No, I've decided I'm not going to... There's a super new Conservative candidate being adopted for my seat who's a really, really good man called James Brokenshire, who's already an MP, but his seat has been abolished by the Boundary Commission, so he was left stateless.
Oh,
and
bless him.
He's been selected to succeed me, and he's a really good man, so I'm very happy about that. There's nothing worse if you're retiring as an MP to find some absolute bozo taking over from you, so it's always a great relief when you know there's somebody good there.
But you're not really going to leave altogether, are you?
Well, I don't know. That's it's a way off yet, because I don't believe all this hype from your friends in the media about early elections and Brown going and all that. I don't buy that. I think Gordon Brown is going to hang on by his bitten fingernails, and I would be very surprised if there's anything before the late autumn of 2009. I suspect he may even go to 2010, which is
really.
he has to go by June of 2010.
You see, all this talk in the Labour Party that they are actually going to force him to leave and they're going to choose another leader, I think that's unprecedented, that we've had two Prime Ministers foisted on us without an election, isn't it?
It would be bizarre, and it would be suicide for them. I mean, if Gordon Brown were to be forced out like that, for example, if David Miliband were to become his successor, then he'd become leader of the Labour Party, be Prime Minister for a few months, he'd have an election where they'd be slaughtered, and he'd be leader of the Labour Party, but he wouldn't be Prime Minister again, because they'll be out for at least 2 terms. Because what Labour have done, which have made it so much more difficult to change elections unless you got one hell of a lead, is that now, I mean, for example, every MP has a stonking sum of £10,000 a year to spend on promoting themselves like double-glazing salesmen. And that's great for incumbency. If you're a candidate from any party trying to get a sitting MP out, they have a huge pot of gold to spread around to make it look as if they're doing things. So they sign ridiculous things called early day motions, which are bits of froth. We call them parliamentary lavatory paper. And then they put out a press release saying, Fred Bloggs MP championing disabled rights by signing an early day motion. And, I mean, it's complete nonsense and spoof, but it justifies a bit of press advertisement and that sort of thing.
I don't understand. We've talked about this before, but I just don't understand why you decided that you'd had enough. Because I mean, we've known each other since we were young, thin, and in our 20s.
With hair, yeah.
Well, you had hair. Well, I never had hair. But
you still got more than me.
I don't think so. But the interesting thing is that was your life. You were the youngest leader of the Tory group on Gateshead Council, as far as I can remember. You were pretty young when you got into Westminster.
I think I don't know if I still hold it, but at one stage I held the record for the youngest person elected. I was 21 years and about 6 months old when I was first elected a councillor, which I think at the time was certainly the youngest. Whether I've been beaten by someone since then, I don't really know. But yes, it's been a long time, but I think you've got to really enjoy things to keep on doing them, and certainly that enjoyment side of it had ebbed away for me. So it'll be dramatic, but I can't say it's. I mean, as my wife said, nobody died. So there are lots of your listeners going through a hell of a lot worse than we've been through.
Well, yes, of course,
because we still regard ourselves as not in too bad a shape.
You've got a marvellous political pension to fall back on.
Well, I hope so, except you've really got to do the full sort of 33 years to get the most of it. So I think I'll have had something like 25 years in by the time I retire.
Did you not?
It'll be better than a black eye, but I'd swap it for any journalist's pension any day. If the editor of the Daily Mail wants to swap places with my pension plan, I'll go for that straight away.
Do you feel animosity to the papers about the way they treated you and harassed you and your family, or not?
No, I think I was fair game. I think if you're in public life, I think they were very harsh on my family. They were particularly harsh on my eldest son, I thought, because certain newspapers have a real thing about homophobia. So that was pretty unpleasant. But they're a robust lot, and they've grown up. They were born while I was in politics, so they've known this is what they've grown up with. So they know that it's a harsh and not always a fair game. But yes, it's been brutal. I mean, my daughter was trailed through the Daily Mail and the Daily Telegraph a couple of weeks ago because she'd been working as an intern for a congressman. She wasn't paid. And she was doing this as part of her gap year, and yet she still gets hauled through the papers.
But this was in America?
In America, yeah.
Yeah.
So, personally, I don't see why that should be of any interest to the public whatsoever, but that's the world we live in.
How did she feel about it?
But she just thinks they're rather sad and get on with their lives. I think young people are fairly stoic about what they read in the papers these days.
Well, so I mean, apart from the fact that I know you could you could present TV and radio programs, what are you actually going to do?
Well, I thought I might become a gentleman to gentleman. I fancy being butler to the editor of the Daily Mail, I think, or maybe to Jeremy Paxman. Maybe I'll make a good chauffeur for Jeremy Paxman. I don't know. We've got a bit of time to sort ourselves out, and we haven't quite made up our mind yet what the next step will be.
So, are you tempted to sort of say to David Cameron, come on, listen, give me my couple of years' salary, I'll go now?
No, I don't think he's anxious for a by-election. So I'm sort of still getting on with representing people. I get really lovely letters from people in the constituency that you try and help as part of being an MP. And so whilst I won't be part of the next Conservative government, I'll be able to sit and watch how they get on. And the Conservative Party, although I don't have the Conservative whip in Parliament, it's the party I've belonged to since I was 15, so I still support it. And you and I have had lots of discussions about Mr. Cameron and his abilities, and he doesn't always say what I'd like to hear him saying, but I think he's very bright and able, and I think he's going to get the chance of being Prime Minister, I would have thought, unless something goes badly wrong, and then we'll see what sort of effect he makes of it.
2 years is a long way off, I must... 2 years is a lot... maybe somebody else will rise through the ranks of the Tories, and you never know, do you? You never know.
You just never know what's going to happen. I think these days, if you've got your health and you've got if you're lucky enough to have a family, I mean, God knows you've been close enough to demise physically, so you know what it feels like. And I think if you've got your health and a loving family, there's not much more you can ask for, really.
So if I was a real journalist and you weren't a friend of mine, I'd probably say, so what do you think the worst thing David Cameron has said for the Tories is?
Oh, lately, heaven knows. I don't know. I mean, I think they've been pretty firm about sticking to the tax basis.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of your listeners will be pulling in their belts a bit, maybe not spending as much as they were, whatever, while all this credit squeeze goes on and mortgage prices and all that sort of pot. But there are some bills you just can't avoid, like, say, council tax.
Yeah.
And yet, I don't really hear people saying to councils, this is not on, everybody's having to tighten, you've got to do something. Instead, most councils are charging people $1,500, $2,000 a year for fewer and fewer services. It doesn't matter whether the Tory, Labour or Liberal controlled, the pattern's still there. That people who can make you pay money, which is the taxman and the council, are still doing it, I think, at levels which are far too high. And now people are saying that, something's got to be done about this. And I hope at some stage the Conservative Party will be speaking out for reducing the tax burden, because I think it's far too high in Britain.
But you see, unfortunately, as far as I can see, and having interviewed your new Führer, he seems to be a big fan of Tony Blair, and he's going the same way as Tony Blair, where Tony Blair didn't say anything much until the election, and then tried to weigh up what the people wanted to hear, said exactly what they wanted to hear, and then delivered absolutely nothing.
I mean, I think David Cameron's probably right. I mean, he needs no advice from me and doesn't take it, but I think he's probably right not to go into phenomenal detail. When Neil Kinnock lost the 92 election, they said it was the longest suicide note in British political history. And people forget that when Mrs. Thatcher became Prime Minister in 1979, there was virtually nothing in that manifesto. They might as well have just put up a poster saying, I'm not Jim Callaghan. Because when you look at the Tory manifesto in 1979, very, very thin. She was very careful not to make lots and lots of detailed promises, because government doesn't really like that. People should elect a party or a government on the direction they think they're travelling in. The detail, you can't predict, in 2 or 3 years' time what's going to be happening. If we all knew now what was happening to house prices, we'd have probably sold up 2 years ago, wouldn't we? So,
well, yes, you might...
You can't put a straitjacket in it. It's unwise to.
Do you think the government are making a good idea that they're going to cut possibly going to cut the stamp duty on houses, or they said a stamp duty holiday. I don't know whether they expect us to pay it a little later, but...
well, I think that's what they're talking about. They're postponing it so they'll come and get it when you sell the house. I mean, I think stamp duty is a very unfair tax, because what it really does is it stops young people trading up. So you get people in their 50s, maybe the children have left home, or people in their 60s, and they're thinking of downsizing. But if they buy, say, a bungalow or whatever, then they're going to get clobbered with council tax, so maybe they just don't bother moving. And that sort of slows down the chain, so that young families who started off in a 1 or 2 bedroom place, get more kids, want a bit more space, the whole system gets into a bottleneck. And I think that's why, for example, so many people have been putting extensions on houses rather than moving, because you're not paying stamp duty on an extension on a house.
Sure.
But what it has done, of course, is wholly distorted the housing market. And I think, Labour's... I don't think they're reacting quickly enough to the problems at the moment.
Do you think they will cut stamp duty, or even get rid of it, maybe for a year?
I think they will. I think they've got to do something about the mortgage market. Most people in Britain have mortgages. Not many people can buy their houses outright. It's very perverse in Britain, because if you look across on the continent, say in Germany or in Austria, I mean, in France they're not as big on owning houses as we are, which is why house values are in a different way to ours. But if you look at markets similar to ours, like the Germans and the Austrians, they often have 2 or 3 generational mortgages. So you take on a mortgage in the belief that your son or daughter is probably going to pay it off when they live in your house or take it over or whatever. So it's not all geared to the sort of 20, 25 years that is so popular in Britain. And particularly for people living in the southeast of England, how they can ever get on the property ladder when, you know, a starter flat in London is £250,000. Well, not many people are earning enough for that. So the whole market's become hugely distorted.
Come on, Derek, I think we should start ourselves a new political party where we can be as extreme as we like. You love it.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know. I'm rather, people say you change as you get older. I'm becoming more conservative rather than less so as I get older. So I'm probably, within 10 years, I'll be so crusty it'll be untrue. I'll probably be in favour of military dictatorships inside of 10 years.
Well, that's exactly my point. We'll call it a benevolent dictatorship.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, none of the politicians know what they're doing at the moment. So we might as well just take over the whole thing and sort the problems out.
Well, as long as I can be in charge of shooting 1 in 10 journalists in front of their families, I may go along with that. But not sure whether that would be part of the deal. I'd sign up for that.
Well, listen, who knows? I might take you at your word.
But I think, I mean, we joke, but I mean, I think most of the politicians I know, the senior ones, you know, who are now running the country and the shadow cabinet who hope to replace them, they're actually, they do genuinely mean well. Even the ones I disagree with, they are trying to do a job, but I think what motivates them governs the decisions they make. And if you're Labour, on the whole, you want to interfere, you think you know better than the individual. That's what makes you want to be a socialist. Whereas I'm a conservative because I actually believe individuals are better at making their decisions. So I'm looking forward to the day when the Conservative Party aggressively advocates the smaller state and individuals do. And then people have got a real choice. So as you say, it's not about moving closer to Tony Blair. I think it should be about what the ideology is.
Exactly.
Do you think bureaucrats are right, or do you think individuals are right? And whichever way you believe is the way you should go.
In fact, politicians of all sides are beginning to merge into one and just wanting to interfere, and I think really that's why you want out, because you can see that as well as everybody else.
And it's where's the sense going? I mean, who would ever believe that you'd live in a country where you'd be fined more for putting an extra bag in your bin than you are for burgling or shoplifting or whatever? I mean, it just seems to have turned completely on its head. The politically correct brigade seem to be setting an agenda which sane people look at and go, what are they doing?
But you see, why on earth isn't David Cameron saying this is... why is David Cameron saying in many cases very little? Because if the local authorities, that we talked about councils, and you never meet particularly bright people going into local politics, do you? At least I haven't. It's a sweeping generalisation, but hey, listen, prove me wrong. All this dictatorship that's coming down from on high, and whether it's a Tory or Labour or Lib Dem government, a local council, doesn't seem to make any difference. The idea that they're going to come round and fine us on the spot if we don't put our bins out and don't put enough, or we put too much in them, is actually not far off a dictatorship.
It's quite scary, and you and I mean, I personally struggle to remember which week is the paper week and which week is the sort of general.
I don't
rubbish
care.
And all that sort of thing.
I stick it all in the black bin.
Elderly people cope. I mean, in my constituency, where the council is actually quite a good council, Bexley Council, but they're very keen on this environment stuff because they do get more money from the government if they do it. You see, there's a big incentive for councils to do it, and that gives them more money for schools and all that.
So they're not. They're not
actually. If you're a council, you've got to try and do it. But if you're an elderly person trying to work out how many bins, which and where, you probably are going to get it wrong because it is very, very confusing.
You see, this is the problem, that they're not concerned with the people, and they're not doing it for any so-called green issues, because that won't make any difference to the planet whatsoever. But they think they have a God-given right to actually tell us how we should live our lives. And I think what will happen is that this will be the last straw. I was talking to your very good friend Ken Livingstone today.
Yeah.
And we were, funnily enough, I was talking about, I was so fed up. How we got onto this, I don't know. But I was telling you, I'm fed up with flipping cameras everywhere. You can't scratch your ass without a camera following you around the street. And Ken said, he said, but you know, they love them. People love them. They're always writing to me wanting more. They want to be filmed from leaving their house to coming back. And maybe that's true, but I don't see it cutting crime, although Ken did say today, he said, it's all nonsense about crime getting worse and worse and worse. It's spiralling down, he said, but nobody seems to believe that.
Well, I think that's right. I mean, all these cameras really do is help the police solve a crime later. There's no evidence they're actually preventing anything. I mean, if you remember, there was an attempt last summer to blow up a London nightclub, and a car with fumes in it, which had a bomb in it, was actually spotted by a paramedic, by a human with eyes, rather than by any of the thousands of CCTVs which crawl over central London. And we felt very personally because my daughter was actually at the place attending an 18-year-old's party. So we were very, very lucky that night that she wasn't horribly blown up.
Well, funnily enough, Mrs. Whale and I were staying in a hotel round the corner.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and watched the story unfold on the TV in the hotel with amazement.
Well, CCTV did nothing to prevent that, and on the whole, I don't know crimes that CCTV does prevent, but afterwards it obviously
parking
does
illegally.
So, but I think you're right. We're now the most observed society in the world, and even Pyongyang, the worst dictatorship on the globe, doesn't observe its citizens as much as we are.
Well, I asked Ken this today. He won't be listening. He's gone off to Beijing. But he said, no, absolutely. He said, James, seriously. He said people love it. They want to be protected by CCTV, and I'm yet to meet anybody who actually says that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy what he's saying on that. I mean, we had a big row in my Old Bexley and Sidcup constituency, in a place called Welling, where there was a car park. There were lots of problems with kids meeting there on motorbikes and fights and noise, and they had cameras. So we went to the council, went to the police to see what was happening. Nobody was watching the cameras. They weren't even working. So the poor locals thought, oh, well, at least there's cameras watching this car park. That's going to stop them. No, might as well, stick a candle there. There's just nothing going on at all. So I think a lot of these cameras serve no useful purpose whatsoever, and that it helps, certainly when it comes to cars, it helps generate a bit of income. And I think that's probably why the police have lost such a lot of public support in the last 10, 15 years, is that police regard people regard law enforcement now as just a cash cow exercise, and it's not really about preventing speeding or preventing accidents, because there seems to be good evidence that speed cameras are actually causing more accidents because people speed up and slow down, which maybe they shouldn't do, but that's human nature. But what they do is generate a lot of money. So it's really about raising money, not about solving car crashes or whatever.
Okay. Final question. I mean, you ran David Davis's campaign to become the leader of the Tory party. And David Davis recently, of course, chucked it all in. And,
Andrew Mitchell ran it. I ran the parliamentary end.
All right, okay. Were you sad to see David Davis? I couldn't, for the life of me, actually understand what he thought he was going to achieve.
Yeah, I was sad because I think he is a hugely able man, and I would like to have seen him be Home Secretary, because I think it's a while since we've had a decent Home Secretary, and it would have been good to have a strong man do that. I understand why he did it, and it's something we've often talked about throughout our friendship. He's got very strong views about the civil liberty stuff. Sometimes I'm on the tendency of lock them away and throw the key and come back in 2 years' time and see how they're faring.
Well, absolutely, I don't see anything wrong with that.
But when you think about it logically, I think his position is right, that I chaired the committee that looked into identity cards, and the evidence is a nonsense. When these come in, you, James will be fined £1,000, and whatever the price will be by the time they're in, but it was £1,000 when they're setting it, if you can't list every address you've lived at since you were born in Britain. And you might be able to remember them, but there are going to be a lot of people out there in their 70s and 80s who can't.
I have no idea. I move every year or so, as you know, to avoid the... but anyway, we're going to have to... I thought this had been scrapped, this idea.
No, it was still part of the legislation. They don't talk about it much, but it'll be another one of these little things that'll suddenly pop out from the woodwork and scare everybody when it's in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, David felt things like that are going to cost a fortune. And if I thought, yes, it was going to grab a lot of people who are illegally in Britain and kick them out and all that, but you and I both know that's not going to happen. It never does happen.
Will they bring it in?
It's a hugely expensive exercise just to pursue decent law-abiding people, and people who've got no business being in Britain will never be chased.
Will they bring it in before the next election?
I somehow don't think so, you know.
Well, in that case, do you think that Cameron will actually give a pledge to scrap it if he gets elected?
He has said so. And I think he probably will, because I think most people look at it dispassionately and say, wouldn't we be better spending that sort of money on more policemen? And I think one of the inventions of the Labour Party, give them credit where it's due, I think, are the they have more ward policemen now. That was a scheme that actually for the Metropolitan Police was trialled in Bexley, where you have a ward sergeant, a couple of ward constables, a couple of these community thingy officers. But it actually is working at ward level, at street level. People do like to see a policeman walking around.
I agree, but they don't want to see a community support officer walking around that has perhaps no authority and very little intellect, as far as I can see, to do anything.
Well, it's a bit like traffic wardens, isn't it? I mean, I think one of the things that scares you a little bit is whether a sense of judgment is sometimes there. And I think old-style policemen, as you call them, they used to apply a bit of judgment, whereas I think now people are so cautious of human rights bit legislation and all the things that come in on how many you stop and where you stop them that it's become a lot of jobs with stuff going on, and until that bubble's burst, I think Britain will become an increasingly difficult place to live in. All
right, mate, enjoy your holiday, your long holiday.
Yeah, I think Parliament comes back in about December or sometime. So,
you don't care, do you, really?
James, it's lovely to talk to you.
Talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
All
Bye.
Right, bye-bye. Derek Conway, who is still the MP for Sidcup and Old Bexley in Kent, and I think it's a huge loss to politics. The way that he wasn't hounded out, but he's lost interest ever since he was accused of paying. It came across in the press, didn't it, as if he'd paid his kids for doing nothing. They did the research. The fact that they could do the research from their computers where they were at the time, and you all know you don't need to be in an office anymore if your work revolves around a computer. You can do it wherever you are, and I think he's a sad miss, because there aren't enough Tories who feel the way he is. There are too many Tories who now just, like everybody else, just want to get elected. So there we are. Sad miss. Never mind. Right, if you want to get on the programme, then this is how you do it. It is 01243 55 60 60, whether talking about fat kids and McCann. Got something to say about Mr. Conway, feel free. Do you know Derek Conway and I first met when I worked on Metro Radio in Newcastle, which was a brand new radio station, went on the air in Newcastle in 1974. And Derek, that was before Derek was a councillor, or he just got elected as the youngest councillor. But his job was promotion manager for action research for the crippled child. And Derek and I decided to do for his charity. This is how we became friends, really. He organised me breaking the world kissing record for the first time, which I did, which I thought was quite exciting. Matt, wow. You don't seem to be in the slightest bit interested. You seem to be.
Who it was you broke the record with?
4,800 women in 8 hours.
You kissed 4,800 women.
Yeah,
you slag.
Yeah, 4,800 women
you slag.
in a. Do you mind? That's not sort of. And I did it twice. I did it in the 70s, and then
9,200 women.
Then I did it in the 80s for telethon. Do you remember ITV used to run this telethon? And I did it for Yorkshire Television in the 1980s. So that's how Derek and I did it. He organised it like a military campaign. And since it's been... This record, by the way, exists in the Guinness Book of Records. And if you look back to 1976, I think it was, and if you look in the Guinness Book of Records 1976, I am in as the world kissing champion.
Where did you find 4,600?
Well, as he did that, he sorted it all out. Went to factories, we went to shopping centres.
Were some of them quite ugly?
I don't remember. You had to do it in 8 hours. So I actually... I was younger than you are now. And I was in a tracksuit. I trained for it, and I ran all day past all these women, just grabbing anybody I could, as long as they weren't sort of complaining. Sure. I might have got a couple of guys in there too.
Oh dear. Let's have a break on that note.
PlayTwoUK headlines.
People trying to buy a house may be given a break from one of the most unpopular charges. Stamp duty could be put on hold by the government. 1 in 3 11-year-olds are leaving primary school lagging behind in reading, writing and maths. SATS results have been released, even though some schools are still waiting for their final marks. There are some delays at Manchester Airport after a near miss between 2 planes. It involved a Futura flight to Tenerife and a Lufthansa service to Germany. And the stakes are high for Rangers tonight as they bid to reach the final qualifying round of the Champions League. Walter Smith's men are in Lithuania to play little-known outfit FBK Kaunas.
PlayTwoUK weather.
All right, let's have a look at the weather over the night and tomorrow. Northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland, overcast, outbreaks of rain. Elsewhere, cloudy with intermittent light rain, although some parts could stay dry. The weather for Wednesday, Scotland, Wales and Western England, cloudy with outbreaks of heavy rain. Elsewhere it'll be brighter, but heavy showers are also expected.
You're up to date on PlayTwoUK. Missed anything?
Hello, my name's John Archer.
Hello, this is Chris Tarrant.
Hello there, this is Sean Williamson.
Hi, this is Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy.
With the legendary David Coverdale of Whitesnake.
Good evening.
Not the Tommy Boyd Show. Big in Japan.
There's actually something about, I think, tyrannical leadership that keeps you looking young. I mean, Saddam didn't look as old as he does, did he?
James Whale.
The legendary Aaron Barr Show.
PlayRadioUK.com/podcast.
PlayRadioUK.com/podcast.
Missed anything? Then go to PlayRadioUK.com/podcast.
Parents give lots of reasons why they keep smoking when they have a newborn baby.
It's just so stressful, what with the crying and the lack of sleep and everything.
Well, my parents smoked when I was a baby, and I'm alright.
But there are lots more reasons why you should stop. Because smoking around your baby doubles the chance of them dying from cot death. That's why the NHS offers free support to new mothers and their partners who want to quit smoking.
We're so glad we quit, for her sake.
Yeah, it's been good for us too.
For help and support to go smoke-free, call the NHS Pregnancy Smoking Helpline on 0800 169 9169 or visit www.nhs.uk/go-smoke-free.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies. Single malt made the traditional way. Visit PlayRadioUK.com and unlock the spirit of legend.
James Whale.
Give me another sip of the Blackadder, please. Check it out. From next week, you can win your own Blackadder single malt whiskey that brings you the James Whale Radio Show at Play Radio UK. Don't forget Mike Mendoza, my former colleague from the other place, joins Play Radio UK Wednesday and Thursday night. Mike Mendoza from 8 on Wednesday and Thursday. It'll be the usual Mike Mendoza show with all his usual guests. Here, Talk from Mendoza. Silly name, actually, isn't it, Mendoza?
Spanish.
It probably is Spanish, but
his family came over to this country in the 1400s.
Yeah. Well, he knows that sort of thing. But why does he model himself on Captain Birdseye? This is the question that never has been answered satisfactorily to me.
Well, I believe by looking at various forums, he's known as the Hairy Snowflake.
The Hairy Snowflake.
Yes.
Yes, right. Yeah. Just make sure you don't start betting with him or anything like that. Right, Mendoza from next week, Wednesday and Thursday from 8. Be great here on Play Radio UK. Right now, let's talk to Alan in Birmingham. Hi, Al.
Hi, James. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Al.
How are you feeling, mate?
Me? Okay, how are you feeling?
And about how do you throat, Matt?
Oh, Matt?
Yeah,
he's fine, yeah, too. Don't worry.
Alan. Different show, Alan.
Yeah, don't worry about that. What's that about a different show? Oh, you have a show he does on that ridiculous show he does on a Sunday.
With his regular cohort.
That needs to be taken off because he encourages you. Yes, Alan, so what is it I can do for you?
The Olympics.
The Olympics, yeah.
Why on earth is China holding the Olympics, given their protest record about the Dalai Lama and Darfur and all that? We should have had a boycott, like the West boycotted the Moscow Games in 1980, and then the East boycotted the LA Games in 1984. We should have done that with the Games here.
Well, we're waiting for somebody in high office to tell us exactly why the IOC decided that China should be given the Olympics. Alan, I agree with you. I think that China have done nothing to prove that they are in any way a nation that should have been given the Olympic Games. I have no idea what it's going to do, the pollution over there, to the health of our athletes. And I think it'll be an unfair Games as well, because the Chinese athletes are used to the pollution. Nobody from anywhere else in the world is. And I think the IOC are just playing political games. Alan, thank you very much indeed. Right, who's next on here?
Luke on one.
Luke on one, okay, let's talk to Luke on one. Luke, you're on the James Whale Radio Show, hi.
I was thinking I might change the subject and ask you what colour underwear you were wearing this evening.
Well, let me throw it right back to you, Luke, baby. What colour underwear would you like me to be wearing?
I like you to be wearing no underwear, so you're big.
Yeah, good. Well, you've got it. I'm wearing no underwear at all. And Sean, you're on the James Whale Radio Show. I don't wear. Funny enough, I put my underwear back on when I leave the studio, but I decide it's better to do it commando.
Dear.
Well, it's all right, mate. Don't worry about it.
You get some weirdos ringing in, don't you, buddy?
Yeah, you can't use it. I thought being online it would probably get rid of the weirdos, but obviously, you see, there's this funny program here on a Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Which had to do with Tommy Boyd, and I blame it all on that.
Yeah. He was good on the telly, though. I used to watch him when I was a young kid.
Whenever you get the chance, if you meet Tommy Boyd, all you have to do is say one word to him if you want to put him in a really bad mood.
Oh, what's that?
Magpie.
Certainly, buddy, certainly.
And if you can sing it, even better.
Yeah, I used to watch that. God, that was years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Susan Stranks. Do you remember Susan Stranks?
Oh, mate, I used to like her. She was quite nice. I think she was, between her and Kim Wilde, one of my first crushes.
Yeah, Susan. Susan Stranks. Oh, dear me. Do you know who Hey, listen, it's interesting. Do you know who the woman I first had imaginary sex? Let's do this for a while. Who was the first woman you had imaginary sex with?
Kim Wilde.
Kim Wilde. Okay.
Debbie Greenwood.
Debbie Greenwood. She's on QVC now.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch her?
No. It's like you watch her and you think, is what you remember it being? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, can I tell you, the first woman I had imaginary sex with was Christine Truman.
I don't know her, I don't think.
She was a tennis player.
Yeah.
And also Cilla Black.
Oh, yeah, she was all right in the day, though, wasn't she? She was all right.
Yeah. When I was at school, Cilla Black was hot.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still hot, really.
Yeah. My brother Paul, he's got loads of her records.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sings a lot of her songs as well.
Okay, what was the biggest hit for Cilla Black?
Was it Alfie?
Well, that was a big one, but what was it? Give me another one. What else did she do?
She also did she did the Bond theme as well, didn't she?
Did she do the Bond theme? I don't know.
To be honest, it's not really my bag. You know what I mean?
All right, okay.
I don't mind the Slade and the Fly from 70s, but
Slade, Slade. I love Slade. Noddy Holder's are great. I love Noddy Holder. Hang on, just a minute, Matt.
Yes.
Who was the first person you had imaginary sex with?
I don't really know. I can tell you the first person I sort of had a crush on that perhaps made me feel a bit sexual was the daughter from Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins' daughter?
Not Mary Poppins'
you
daughter.
Disgusting...
Hey, come on. I was younger than her at the time.
Yeah, you disgusting filthy... Yeah. Okay, so for the rest of the show tonight, please email me. Who was the first person you had imaginary sex with? If you know what I mean.
Studio at PlayRadioUK.com.
Yeah. Good, okay, mate. Thanks for your call. You all right?
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, good. No, that's excellent. Good.
Fair enough. We have Terry from France on line 1.
Okay, and then go to some emails.
Yes.
Right, Terry from France. Hi, Terry, you're on the air.
Hi, James. How you doing?
Well, apart from some of the nuts around tonight, I'm fine, Terry.
Oh, good. Well, I hope I'm not one of them.
No, Terry, no. Imaginary sex, Terry. Who was it, first of all? Man or woman, doesn't matter.
It was a girlfriend, actually, when I was about, 15.
Oh, you must have had imaginary sex before you were 15.
I don't think so, James.
There must have been some woman you lay in bed thinking about at night.
No, I had too many other things on my mind at the time.
Really?
Yeah. She was a blonde girl who lived just down the road from me in West Ham.
God, I
really
think
my first girlfriend, you know.
13, I remember being, and not far from where I am now, I was at the Beach Hotel in Worthing, right on the seafront in Worthing.
Yeah.
And my dad took us there for a week's holiday in the summer of goodness only knows what. And I was 13, and it must have been about 60-something or other, and there was this blonde girl about the same age, and I kept, you know how I sort of engineered bumping into her in the foyer of the hotel all the time.
I know, yeah.
And I didn't have imaginary or real sex with her, but not for the want of trying.
I know, it's, you see a girl and you just really sort of click and fancy her.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my first ever feeling of sexual lust.
And you were 14?
13.
13? Oh, that's, you see, I mean, that's quite early, really, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was concerned at that age that I was a bit backward by all accounts from what my mates in school were saying.
But I mean, you're talking about the early 60s now, aren't you? Late 50s?
Well, let's see. If I'm 57, I think I was 60. It would be about 63.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried to Skype you earlier, unsuccessfully.
Why?
Do you mean why was it unsuccessful?
Absolutely.
Apparently, I left my media player on.
Oh, that's no good.
And I've got to get to the bottom of this, James, because I gather if you've got the Skype on, you can't have the media player, so the only contact is through the Skype. Is that right?
Yeah, yes. I mean, it was quite straightforward, I'm told, by the people here.
Yeah, well, I'll have another crack at it, because, I mean, I can see you. I've got to see, the problem is, can I use, if I turn the media player off, am I still going to have the webcam going?
Matt?
Yes.
Well?
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll try again anyway, not tonight, but another time.
All right.
And really, I just wanted to
trying to think who he had imaginary sex with. Go on.
I just wanted to phone to apologise for not getting through, because I sort of got through. I could hear you, but you couldn't hear me. You know.
Yeah, well, never mind. It's France, I suppose.
Yeah, you know, you've got that prison down the road from you, haven't you?
Yes.
That's a woman's prison, isn't it?
No.
It is.
No, it's not. Matt, is the prison down the road a woman's prison?
No, it's not. It's a Category D men's prison.
Yeah, it's a prison where you can walk out if you want.
Is that Ford? Is it Ford Open Prison?
Yes.
What about a honk on the horn for them then?
Why?
Well, because they'll all be listening there with their mobile phones.
Yeah.
And their web and their laptops.
Well, they're there to be punished, not there to get a honk on the bloody horn, for goodness sake.
Well, you know what occurs to me, James, is that England has one of the highest prison populations in the world.
Yeah.
But you never meet anybody who's who's
God,
got a relative.
I do.
Yeah, but you don't own up. You don't own up to it, do you?
Well, I've had friends. I've visited most prisons in the land. I've not visited this one round the corner. Thanks very much indeed. And I am of the opinion that if prison was a little bit harder, there'd be a lot less people going there. Yeah. I think there are two categories. I think there are people who get themselves into a situation and can't get out of it and end up being put in prison. Which probably isn't going to do them any good, and there'd be a better way to treat them. But there are scumbags who are what you might call professional thieves, people who mug, people who rape, people who murder. These people need to be locked away together for a long, long, long time, and they need to be treated fairly severely, so that all that is going on in their heads is that when I get out, if I get out, I will never do anything to come back in here again.
Yeah, well, I've got two relatives in prison, James, and they've both been in prison all their lives. One for very minor offences, you know, sort of shoplifting and consistent housebreaking.
Yeah.
And the other one...
That's not minor. In my view, you see... in my view, it's not minor, because in my view, somebody who breaks into somebody's house is a rapist. Yeah, they rape your space and your property.
James, let me finish. Because what I was going to go on to say is that my other relative is in there for kidnapping, the attempted murder of a policeman, and armed bank robberies. I mean, compared to that, it's minor, isn't it?
It's not as horrific, and obviously your other first relative should never get out and never see the light of day again. But I do have a problem with people saying, oh, well, you know, they didn't intend to hurt anybody. No, but they came into your house, they went through all your private stuff, they may have urinated and defecated all over the floor, they disturbed things that they had no business disturbing, and then they get a lenient sentence. And when somebody shoots one of them because they're in their house, the bloke who shoots them gets put into prison. It's a completely balmy world in which we live.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's disgraceful. But no, I was just really making the point that, you know, there's so many people in prison that you know, if your son or relative is a doctor or an accountant or whatever, you hear about it, but you never.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear...
well, why would you want to? I mean, somebody is stuck in prison, you want to talk about them?
No, but why... should you really be ashamed?
Well,
yourself?
I would be.
You would?
Yeah, absolutely.
But why?
Well, wouldn't you... Why should you not be ashamed if one of your relatives...
As I say, I've got two relatives who spent all of their lives in prison.
But
I'm not ashamed
but you're not
to tell
proud
people
of...
about that.
Why?
Because it's not my fault.
Well, I didn't say it was, but it seems to me that you're kind of boasting about the fact.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It seems that you're quite proud of him.
No, well, I'm not, James, no. But I take your point that it can come over like that. But no, I'm not proud of it, but I just seem to be sort of open about most things, you know.
All right.
Including that, you know.
I think you're just trying to find a story for a new book, that's what I think.
Well, this is the point, really, because I write autobiography.
Yeah.
And if you write autobiography, you tend to be very open about everything. And from my point of view, I find it strange...
Except your sex life.
Sorry?
Except your sex life.
Well, that's different because that's between me and my wife, you know.
That's the only sex you're having, you and your wife?
Yeah, that's all we've had, because we've been together for over 30 years now.
You've never strayed?
Never, and even if I had, I wouldn't.
You're lying.
Wouldn't own up to it on the radio.
No, I suppose not, really. Right, good, Terry. Nice to talk to you.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
James.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
I was going to put him on a very embarrassing spot there, wasn't I?
Well,
what are you looking at me for?
I thought you were a bit unfair to the guy. Being open doesn't mean you're boasting about something.
Yes, it does. No. Being open, being open about it means well, I'm not embarrassed about my relatives in prison. Well, you bloody well ought to be.
Why?
Quite frankly. Because
maybe embarrassed in the fact that you might be related to them, but you shouldn't be embarrassed in the fact that they are in prison because they've done what they've done without any control or help from yourself.
Yeah, but best not to sort of go on about it. I mean, once you start going on about it like that, it sounds to me like you're quite proud that they're there. Yeah, I'm not ashamed to tell you my mate's in prison. No, I'm not ashamed of where you bloody well should be.
I think
you're
it
flipping well should be.
Gives him the opportunity to empathise with what you were saying.
Does it?
Yeah.
What does empathise mean?
Empathise? Well, it's like
I knew you didn't know.
Ellington Lodge Hotel at the Concord Club. A unique place to stay. Going on a cruise or flight? Why not take advantage of the free short-term parking we offer to residents and extend your holiday by a night or two? Ellington Lodge is situated 2 minutes from Southampton Airport and Parkway Station, just off the M27 at Junction 5, and a short taxi ride from the Southampton cruise terminals. For more information, visit our website, theconcordclub.com.
Are everyday items stretching your family income to the limits at the moment? Me too. Well, I found this amazing website, comparison-plus.co.uk. It's amazing. You can compare the prices of thousands of products from all the big retailers. And what's more, it's a totally free service. You don't have to become a member to use Comparison Plus. But if you do register with comparison-plus.co.uk, you get cashback rewards, giving you even bigger savings. Don't pay over the odds. Click comparison-plus.co.uk and start saving now.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies. Mouth-watering malt straight to your door. Visit PlayRadioUK.com and set your taste buds free.
If silence is golden, then treasure seekers need seek elsewhere. For here's one golden oldie that will never be silenced. James Whale.
Oh dear. We're just having a large discussion about first imaginary sex. And then boys have a thing they do when they get to a certain age. I don't want to be too. And so, when you first do it, it can be quite worrying, because sometimes you think, should he do that? Because people don't talk about sex. And then if you happen to be a Catholic, they'll probably tell you you're going to go blind anyway, or grow hairs on the palm of your hand, which is it's child abuse telling kids that, in my view. Right, some emails. If you want to email the show, studio@playradiouk.com. We'll take some more calls in a moment. Got a load of Skype calls coming up as well. 01243 55 60 60. You can call us on that if you want to Skype. It's play.radio.uk. If you want to watch the programme live, like you can there, I've been chewing a bit off my thumb, and suddenly I caught my thumbnail, and I split it. And I was trying to, and it kept catching in thing, and I hate it.
You'll be careful to get rid of that, otherwise you'll put it in your pocket and rip your nail off.
That's what I'm trying to do. I need a fail. I need a file. So anyway, you can watch me doing all these sort of things at www.nttbs.com. Click watch. You can watch and hear the show live. And this shirt I'm wearing, Mrs. Well doesn't like me wearing it out. She says it makes me look a bit like a thug or a lout. I quite like it, but then I like that look. Oh, dear, excuse me. So that's how you can get in touch. studio@playradiouk.com is how you email us. Now, this is Chris D. from Huddersfield. Hi, Chris. Give him a honk of the horn. Chris said, I mentioned you reviving your use of the national anthem last week and noticed that you played the Sex Pistols version at the end of the show. When I think back to your radio air days in the 1980s, I remember you changing it from the Sex Pistols to a different comedy version. Though I can't think which one it was. I might have done, but the Sex Pistols is my favourite version. And from henceforth on, I will be closing my programme on Play Radio UK with the Sex Pistols' God Save the Queen. If you want to hear that, it'll be played every night, just running up until midnight. Also, says Chris, I think it will be great to have a revival of Alice on the show. Do you still speak to Mr. Kingston, who used to play Alice? I do. I do. And also, do you remember Victor Lewis Smith? Well, of course I remember Victor Lewis Smith. Victor Lewis Smith, who's one of the funniest journalists. Do you ever read Victor Lewis Smith's columns? Anybody? Very funny. He used to ring me as Bimbo. He used to be a caller called Bimbo. And he went on and produced Radio 4 programmes and Radio 2 programmes, and I think he lives up in Cumbria. So I haven't spoken to him for a while. He makes shows. He bought the name Rediffusion and did all sorts of strange things. He's also released CDs of some of his wind-ups to people like...
I know.
Do you know? Yeah.
I know how.
Yeah. So anyway, Victor and I used to do all sorts of shows, but he used to ring in, and he used to say the F word. He used to see if he could get the F word into a conversation without saying it. And then he would call himself Bimbo. And he was funny. Don't yawn. Could you recall your time as the most famous man in the whole world ever? Well, I'm still the most famous man in the whole world ever. I had a jingle that said that. James Whale, most famous man in the whole world ever, James Whale. How crowded the clubs and bars used to be when you were on tour with people queuing to get in to see. They were. Yeah, right round the block when we used to do our disco tours. Hey, perhaps we could do disco tours again. I do a bit of after-dinner speaking. Is that the same thing? Maybe you could have some of your old jingles remade for the new show. And the Bitter Enders. What about the Bitter Enders? I used to have a little club called the Bitter Enders. And I used to give out a password every night, the last second of the show. And if people wrote it down and they sent it in to me to prove they'd listened to the last part of the show, we used to send them back a badge. They used to be members of the Bitter Enders Club. Richard Hodinott. That's a nice name, isn't it? Hodinott. Yeah, Hodinott. James, sorry, but I don't like the shirt. Oh,
at least he's honest.
I lost... he lost a leg due to a road traffic accident. Got lots of other health issues. I'm unable to work, which is doing my bloody head in. I need 2 cars, one for the wife for work, the kids' taxi, and one for me so I can get out, as there's nothing worse in having to ask other people to drive me to places all the time. So you can imagine my disgust at the price rise in petrol and road tax. This makes things worse when you consider the price hike in gas electric prices. Then we have the council tax, and it's just gone stupid. It makes me think that prices will keep going silly as this country has lost all its will to fight back. What's happened? Has everybody left? Or do we have too many new people in the country who just love the handouts and won't rock the boat? I was very proud of my country, but that's all gone. It's a very sad email, this. He said, sad but true, I need to get people telling me to buck up, as there is only so much fight in every person, and this 42-year-old has no fight left. Cheers, Richard. Come on, Richard! Come on, Richard! You might only have one leg left. It could be worse. You could have none. In fact, look at Douglas Bader in the war. Both legs blown off. Got artificial legs before there were artificial legs. became one of the most amazing fighter pilots the war knew.
With artificial legs?
With two artificial... Have you never seen the film of Douglas Bader?
No.
Reach for the Sky? You're not very... I'm worried about you a little bit. Peter Collins is back. He says, with Christmas just around the corner, will Matt be sticking up a nice little Christmas tree? He stuck out everything else. I see no reason why not.
It's going to be a bit painful when I put it out. It'll be like a bar.
Shut up. And Christmas decorations and lights to give the feeling of Christmas spirit. Now, I know you are not too keen on Christmas, James, but it's just the end of the year celebration, to be honest. You can tell me to piss off if you want, but the studio's looking very bright and lifeless. So come on, I keep asking them to put the lights down and to dim the lights and give us a bit of effect. I'm not used to working in these bright lights. I don't seem to get anything I ask for around here, I must admit. Peter from Birmingham. I have to admit, I don't like Christmas decorations much. I know I'm not a huge. I like the part, the end of the whatever, but still. Stephen James, thank you for your email. He said, find out. Does that man who used to be the mayor of London hold a grudge yet? No, Stephen, he doesn't. I can assure you. Not those three bleeding side saddlers, Matt, Stu, and Weedle. Is this your friends again?
That somebody's given you another way of putting NTTBS.
Oh, not those three bleeding side saddlers. Oh, right, okay. Thank you, Seamus. Another brick in the wall. Thank you very much indeed, Seamus. We should do an email on Seamus O'Reilly. I think he'd be quite interesting. An email. We should do a documentary on it. James, how are you keeping? I hope well. I've listened to you since I was about 12. He's 34 now. Don't always agree with what you say, but I guess that would be boring anyway, wouldn't it? I have never phoned you in all the time. Maybe I'll pluck up courage one of these days. My wife bought me your book for Christmas. It's an interesting read. Good news about Mr. Mendoza. A brilliant win for Playradio UK. Won't ever need to tune anywhere else. Richard in Chorley. What about Charlie Wolf? Yes, well, what about Charlie Wolf? So anyway, David Green, you mentioned before we did that one. Watch out, I think I'm going to sneeze. Tony Smales, good. Mr. Ware, good evening. This is from James Jones. It's nice to hear your voice. I'm looking just kind of like yourself, just wishing for another male flirt. Oh, really? He wants to flirt with me. Right, going from this point, you put the fool on a tech head of a tech head in his place. If he can't put basic things right on your show, smack him hard in the chest for me.
Who said that?
This is a friend of mine, James Jones. I've never heard of him before.
I say come down here, James.
Good work, your voice in the airways. Nice to hear you play. Blah, blah, blah. Nice to hear your wife getting the bottom of her dishwasher. Getting to the bottom of a dishwasher problem. No, it worries me. What did we do before they came along? I don't know, actually. I'm a great fan, and I'm lusting for your sexy wife, Rob. Right. How much you prepared to pay for a night? Let me know, because, at the moment I need a few bob. Right.
We need to pay the bills first.
Do we? I'll pay the bills and we'll talk to Fat Steve, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, Fat Steve.
I believe he's going to give us a Dutch lesson.
Knobbly knees, Fat Steve. Look at those knobbly knees. Look at those knobbly knees.
Want £100 off of the cost of your next holiday? One4 Travel are offering an unbelievable £100 discount off of all holiday bookings. Whether you want to visit Turkey, Bulgaria, Croatia, Egypt, Cyprus or Spain, One4 Travel have a fantastic range of hotels to suit every holiday need. All you need to do to get your £100 discount on top of the everyday exceptional prices is call now on 0871 664 1405 or visit the website at www.one4travel.co.uk.
Find out how your business can reach over 3.5 million clients right now by emailing sales@playradiouk.com or call 01243 556 285. playradiouk.com. Internet radio your way.
Broadcasting live to the UK. News, information, entertainment, and the best music from the past 40 years. This is Play2UK. James Whale Call 01243 55 60 60. Email studio@playradiouk.com. Skype play.radio.uk. Live and unleashed. The James Whale Radio Show on Play2UK with Blackadder Whiskies. Single malt made the traditional way. Visit playradiouk.com and unlock the spirit of legend.
James Whale. Silence was never an option.
Okay, good evening to 10 o'clock, and the James Whale Radio Show is on the air. And thanks to our friends at Blackadder Whiskey, the traditional way to make single malt whiskey. And if you haven't tried Blackadder Whiskey and you love whiskey, then Blackadder Whiskey single malt made the traditional way is just for you. What? What?
A bit of overkill, isn't it?
You got to big up the sponsor.
Big up the sponsor by all means.
Nobody's used to doing it in this country. If we were in America, we'd be talking about Blackadder Whiskey every moment.
Good point.
You know, Blackadder Whiskey paying your wages. Blackadder Whiskey are to be admired. Blackadder Whiskey, I've tasted it. It's a great drink. It's not a drink for a yobbo like you. It is a drink for a discerning connoisseur like me and Fat Steve. A single malt whiskey is exactly the sort of thing that should be sponsoring this show. None of your cheap tacky lager here. A single malt whiskey that is to be sipped and to be enjoyed from Blackadder, the home of traditional single malt whiskey. By the way, hang on, by the way, I am available for voiceovers. If anybody's interested, you need a commercial voiceover, get in touch. Okay, first sex. Imaginary sex. First imaginary sex. Bob Shanks says, Jane Fonda as Barbarella. Okay, Bob, thank you. Yeah, that's a good one. A lot of us of a certain age had imaginary sex with Jane Fonda in Barbarella. Yeah, I was just having a little think there. I've listened to you since I found you on the radio when I had my appendix out in York Hospital 25 years ago. Those days you were on Radio Air. And we have spoken on occasions. I just want to say thank you for being my voice among millions. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? That's really good. Thank you very much indeed, Bob. You want to email the show? studio@playradiouk.com. Fat Stevie, he's in America, joins us now by Skype. It'll sound like he's here with us in the room.
Hello, Blackadder Whiskey.
Blackadder
Smooth
Whiskey.
and lovely.
Yeah. Do you like a single malt? You look like you might.
Yeah. I'm a little sick of wasting my Macallan on the band, so I started buying them, cheap blended whiskey.
No. You know, I have to. I don't want to get upset the sponsor, but I do like the occasional Jack Daniels.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, but
we have Knob Creek, of course.
Hey, I love your pussy. I just see your pussy between your legs there. On the webcam. My gosh, that's a lovely pussy.
Oh, thanks. And I was just telling you about Knob Creek. I had a large knob yesterday.
Well, you got to try. You can get Blackadder online. You can get it there. In fact, we're going to start giving it away. We'll run a little competition from next week. And
is there a Faulty Towers rum?
I don't know, but that's a good idea. But I tell you, I got this home last night. I was so knackered. I decided I'd sit down, put my feet up, and light one of those therapeutic candles. Mrs. Whale was in bed and poured...
It's called a joint.
Yeah. Therapeutic candle. And poured out a shot of Blackadder. Delicious. I tell you, really delicious. Something like nothing else. So smooth. Anyway, right, so Fat Steve, there you are. You're sitting at home
you were talking about Dutch before.
Oh, yeah. You know about Dutch?
Well, you had wanted to know how to say hello.
Yeah.
Well, and it's either hello, H-A, hello, or ahoy, which is like hi.
Yeah.
But what you said, dag, it's pronounced dag, which means, that does mean day, but it's used like good day.
Uh-huh.
Or you might say good afternoon is goeiemiddag, and good evening is goedenavond.
And so, are you a regular Dutch person? I'm just going to show the people who are watching on camera what you look like, because we've got a good shot of you here, and your pussy.
Yeah, and I'm not wearing a hat today.
No, you've washed your hair. Wave to the people around the world. You're online now. That's it. Look at that. That's Fat Steve in. I always forget where
Atlanta.
it is. Atlanta, Georgia. There we are. It's very, very nice as well. So introduce me to your pussy. What's his name or her name?
This is Beasley.
Beasley? Yeah.
Beasley, yes.
He's lovely.
Yeah, he's all white.
Yeah. I've got 3 dogs who are all white.
Oh, no.
And
they should go out and get dirty together.
Yeah. Well, they do periodically. Yeah. Okay. So, what are you up to there today? You seem to be very busy in the studio.
Well, yeah, I had my friend over and we were finishing up the little TV project we're working on. But heard you speaking Dutch, so I wanted to line in there. I go to Amsterdam quite a bit. In fact, I have an apartment over there.
Do you? Why?
Yeah.
It's a long way for a Yank to travel.
I don't. Well, we were spending a lot of time there, and then we had a really good arrangement going where we were renting it out for short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, Amsterdam, where like prostitution and marijuana is, all short-term rentals are no longer legal.
Oh, really?
Because it's considered an illegal hotel, and there's like a housing shortage.
All right.
So now I have it rented out on a yearly basis, and it pays the mortgage, but we don't get to stay there anymore. So now we have to stay in a hotel when we go over there.
And so, do you think you'll go and live there eventually, or not?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, why?
It's just where I feel the most comfortable. I mean, my family is from Holland originally, but that was before the Second World War. The Jews didn't do too well in Amsterdam during the Second World War.
Are you Jewish?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been to Anna Frank's house?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. I learn a bit more about my callers every day. That's why I love to have relationships with people on air like this. You see. So I think it's about time, Stevie, you put some work my way. My wife says our bank balance is getting down pretty low now since I haven't been working as much as I used to. So, I'm available, voiceovers and maybe documentaries and a few commercials.
And if there's a role for an angry British talk show host,
well, maybe
definitely
maybe you know some radio stations in Atlanta who'd like to take the program.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do a little syndication deal. You could be my syndication agent out there.
Excellent.
Have a little thing,
right,
man.
cool.
Have a thing, because, some of my shows do appear on American radio.
Oh, cool.
And
there was that Roger Hedgesucker who you've worked with.
Roger Hedgesucker.
What's his name?
Roger Hedgecock. He's big in San Diego, man. He is big in San Diego. There's a magazine. Do you ever see, if you're into talk radio, called Talkers Magazine? You should get hold of it.
I think Rush Limbaugh's fat ass was on the cover of that.
Yeah, it's an American magazine, and I was talking to the editor the other day, and they want to try and break into the British market. And I think a couple of syndicated American shows over here and a couple of British syndicated shows over there would be actually quite a good way of people in Britain and America finding out more about each other, because all we know about each other is, we know about Americans through the movies and their politicians, and I suppose the same for the Americans knowing about the Brits, but that's not really...
Yeah, and most people here still think that Tony Blair is the Prime Minister, so we're still kind of popular.
I have never, ever understood why Americans' political judgment is so appalling. They love Tony Blair. Do most Americans know how Tony Blair is regarded in Britain?
It's hard to say because, most Americans would be happy that he turned his back on all his socialist friends. And that's sort of all they know about him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and of course I suppose a lot of Americans think, oh, that's great. But, it's not the real story at all. Him and Bush are heralded, I would think, in this country as two people to be struck off your Christmas list.
Well, yeah, Blair did give Bush a lot of, credibility in this country. It's like, well, wait a second, here's a guy, who can read and is supporting Bush.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that is a problem. I lost your picture now. I don't know where it went.
Oh,
it's okay. That's all right. It doesn't matter. Listen, Stevie. So you're going to look into maybe a little syndication of my show through Atlanta.
I'll loiter at all the radio stations.
Yeah, well,
see what happens.
Maybe there's some money we can make there, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always into money.
I know. I could see that looking at your rather palatial studio that you're sitting in.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon, Fat Steve.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Atlanta in Georgia, this Fat Steve. I love the idea. It's a great... He's obviously... we'll probably find out that he's another film producer, and this is all part of a movie he's making. Well, that's what I think, anyway. Okay, David Green's given me a list of Cilla Black hits. Anyone who had a heart, step inside love. What else we got? Baby, we can't go wrong. Heart and Soul with Dusty Springfield. There's 1993. Only got to 75. I don't even remember that one. You're My World, number 1 in 64. Anyone Had a Heart, number 1 also in 64. She had a number 2 in 65 with You've Lost That Loving Feeling. She had number 5 in 66 with The Love's Just a Broken Heart. 66, she got to number 9. I thought she went to number 1 with Alfie, but apparently not. Don't Answer Me was number 6 in 1966. Number 13 in 1966, A Fool Am I. And she loads of songs I don't even remember of Cilla Black. We were talking, recent Cilla Black I'm talking about is because we were talking about who did you have your first imaginary sex with, and for me it was Cilla Black and Christine Truman, and some woman who was on Doctor Who at the time who I've forgotten, but there we are. Right, okay, what are we doing now?
I'm just calling somebody back for you now. Russ Morris on Skype.
Right, okay, Russ Morris, because what we're now doing is we're sorting our calls out better than we were before, as they do in proper radio stations. So we're just upgrading everything. So unfortunately, people call in and they can't get on and whatever. So now we're doing it the usual way and getting you in a queue and seeing if it works better this way. Is this Russ Morris I'm talking to now?
Yes.
Is it? Okay, Russ Morris.
Good evening, James. How's it going, fella?
Where are you, Russ?
I'm bigging it up in the Stoke-on-Trent Massive.
Really?
Well, sort of. Anyway, great news about the Mendoza joining your station. That's the big coup for Playradio UK. Make no mistake about that, Jamesy.
This voice sounds familiar to me, Matt. Why would it sound familiar?
I don't know.
Does it sound familiar to you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what's coming next.
No idea. But Stoke-on-Trent is it's the place you'd put the tube if you were giving the world an enema.
I think you're wrong, but...
Stoke-on-Trent is the ugliest place in this country. Come on, Russ.
Have you ever been?
Do you know, I was in Manchester a couple of weeks ago, and I came back the pretty way. I didn't go on the motorway, and of course, came down through Stoke-on-Trent, and Mrs. Whale and I, in Stoke-on-Trent, thought, lunch. And do you think we could find anywhere to have lunch in Stoke-on-Trent on a Sunday? We couldn't. So we ended up at the drive-in McDonald's. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, Festival Park.
Yeah. So that's where we had lunch a couple of weeks ago in Stoke-on-Trent.
Two cheeseburgers for £2. It's a good deal.
Well, yes, we didn't have 2 cheeseburgers, but yes, not a bad deal.
Anyway, man, what's this about the CCTV?
What's CCTV?
Surely it's one of God's best inventions to mankind.
CCTV. I know who this is.
Who?
That's a Geordie accent you're trying to hide, isn't it?
I'm not Geordie, you big loser.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm
not Geordie.
Yeah. Nigel, I know it's you.
Nigel.
Yeah, thank you, bye, Nigel. Nice one, you're not getting... Do you know who he is?
No, he didn't sound like he was hiding a Geordie accent to me.
Yeah, but then you're not very good at this, are you? He's in the bill.
Is he?
He's in the bill, yeah.
Put him back up.
Oh, jeez. You're creasing me up here, big man. I've never been to Newcastle in my life.
No, it doesn't sound it to me.
Thanks, Matt.
It sounds more sort of Leeds, Sheffield.
Leeds, Sheffield, do you think?
Yeah.
Anywhere other than Stoke-on-Trent?
Shut up!
Stoke-on-Trent famous for 2 things.
That sounded Geordie.
Yeah. I told you. Listen, Matt, I told you it's my mate off the bill.
Can we talk about CCTV seriously? I mean, that's what I rang up for.
Yeah, go on then.
It's the best thing ever. It catches criminals.
Yeah.
People robbing old ladies. The sniffing glue on the corner.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah.
I can't believe a man of your stature is actually dissing it on the radio.
You know you're talking bollocks. It's just a question of when we're going to get to what you really want to say, isn't it? CCTV cameras, how come they're always out of focus? How come they're always pointing the wrong way? How come they never manage to reduce your insurance? How come they are just a waste of bloody space?
They're not a waste. How can they be a waste of space? They're only little things.
Oh, never mind. I'm not even going to argue CCTV with you. It's totally unimportant, not really what you called in. Why don't you get over what you wanted to do?
I've got it.
Yeah, good. Right, okay, so, just a pillock. It's just, they're probably doing a night shoot on the bill, and they're bored. That's probably what's going on. But I knew it was him.
Fair enough.
Bob Shanks emailed in and said, what happened to your first book, Training Women, The Whale Way? Do you know it was banned in many places? I can't believe that. I wrote this great book called Training Women, The Whale Way. In the 70s. And you don't remember a woman called Barbara Woodhouse? She had a show on television called Training Dogs the Woodhouse Way. And she used to, her catchphrase was, Wookies! She used to say, your dog will always do what you want as soon as you just say, Wookies! And I came with this daft idea, wouldn't it be better for relationships if a woman knew her place? If a woman knew her place and she knew what she had to do, how she had to do it, and I also said we're going to bring out a line in kitchen sink chains, that colour coordinate with your kitchen sink. And she didn't believe me, but there we are, Mrs. Whale, that is.
You have Sizemorg on Skype.
I've got Rob Burnett on Skype.
No, you have Sizemorg on Skype.
Oh, right, okay, I've got a few on Skype. I've got a couple of emails as well. Let me just do this one. This is interesting from Dean again. He says, first trouser tremors were based on these trio of beauties. Janet Ellis, Glynis Barber, Dempsey and Makepeace, and Jenny Agata, Dino and Dudley. Yeah, I can relate to all three of those, mate. It doesn't have to be guys. Girls have these as well, first imaginary sex.
They certainly do. I still can't think of mine.
You lying devil.
I'm trying desperately to think who it might have been.
And this is David Hazlitt said, I had an awful experience tonight. I hooked my PC up to my 40-inch TV set. You look awfully large screen. Who ironed your shirt? Pillock. Did you get my email telling you about Leicester City Council giving almost 60k out of hours Muslim funerals? What's that all about? The same council denied the Caribbean Carnival a grant to keep that going. Why don't you get someone from Leicester Council to defend their policy? Money for Muslim burials, nothing for Caribbean carnivals. David in Leicester. Well, quite frankly, I think that's more for a Leicester radio station, don't you, than this? To be honest with you. Sizemorg, is he all right? It's 20 past 10. He's probably been drinking since 8 this evening.
Not at all.
Are you? Oh, right, okay, Sizemorg, that's all right then, mate, yeah. I'm drinking.
I was just waiting for you to speak to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am speaking with you now.
Absolutely. Right, James. All these laws, there's 1,000 odd laws that the government can enter your property, whether you like it or not. What do you think about that?
Just run that by me again, because I don't think I understood the question.
Well, the question is this, that the government has now given law to various people, including traffic wardens, forget about the police and the army and all that, but to all sorts of other people, that they can enter your house if and when they decide.
Well, they can try, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well,
a traffic
not going to happen here, that's for sure.
A traffic warden, people may not realise, but traffic wardens are being called now, oh God, what's the name?
It'll be something politically correct.
No, it's, they're being called something security office, oh, gosh.
Road security
No,
officers?
No. I've forgotten what the term was, but they've come up with this great term which all parking attendants, traffic warden, people like that are going to get, and they're going to get new powers, and it's another way of making cheap policing. And these people are going to be able to come into your homes, apparently. But it's not going to happen, because the first time some thicko tries to come,
Civil enforcement officer.
How do you find that out so quickly?
Tell me in the chat rooms. You see, that's why the chat rooms are good to have.
Oscar, thank you, Oscar, yeah. Civil enforcement officers is what they're going to be called, Sizemore.
Yes, I know what they're called.
All right.
But they're already stopping people in the street for taking photographs. Yet we're under CCTV 24/7.
Who's been stopped for taking a photograph by one of these oiks?
I'll post you the link.
Do. Post me the link, we'll have a look.
If Sizemore, if you put it in a private message to me on Skype, and then I'll bring it up.
Okay.
All right, then we'll talk about it.
So drop me off now. I'll go and find this.
All right, mate. Talk to you later. Thanks, Sizemore.
Anyway.
All right. I was just reading that bit somebody sent us as well as about Martin Bashir.
Yes.
Could you pull it back up or not?
Sure.
Martin Bashir is the man who did the interview with Diana. He also he also did an interview which I thought was appalling with Michael Jackson and nearly drove Michael Jackson round the bend. I met this man because apparently he's a born-again Christian and goes to my brother's church, or did before he went to America. Listen, this London-born presenter who moved to the US 4 years ago says he's happy to be in the midst of so many Asian babes. In fact, I'm happy that the podium covers me from the waist down.
What an idiot.
He made the comments during an annual banquet in Chicago for the Asian American Journalists Association. So he starts off the plonker by saying, I should ring my brother and say, your mate Bashir, your happy clappy from the Baptist church, gets a stiffy thinking about Asian babes. Not only that, he tells them, I'm so happy to be in the midst of so many Asian babes. In fact, I'm happy that the podium covers me from the waist down.
Have you read the next quote?
Bashir, 45, also managed to embarrass fellow presenter Juju Chong by saying a speech should be like a dress on a beautiful woman, long enough to cover the important parts and short enough to keep you interested. Like my colleague Juju's. He's now written to the Journalists Association apologising for his tasteless remark and moment of stupidity. Here's a man who thought he was clever trying to stitch up Michael Jackson. The letter, which has been made public in the US, says, I wanted to write and apologise for an inappropriate comment that I made at the dinner last Friday. Upon reflection, it was a tasteless remark that I now bitterly regret. I'm grateful to you for the opportunity to address those present and hope that the continuing work of the organisation will not be harmed or undermined by my moment of stupidity. Jeffrey Schneider, a spokesman for ABC Bashir's network, said this kind of remark has no place in any setting, and Martin knows that and is truly sorry for his serious error in judgment. Bashir's status has grown since his infamous Panorama interview with Princess Diana, in which he exposed her husband's affairs with Camilla Parker Bowles. He went on to make a documentary in 2003 shadowing Michael Jackson, but was accused of editing the tapes in a sensational manner, painting Jackson in a bad light. When it was aired in the US, it created such uproar that it began a series of events leading to Jackson being tried for molesting a boy who appeared in the film. Jackson was later acquitted. He now works for ABC's Nightline, the equivalent of BBC Newsnight. Bashir was recently diagnosed with a brain tumour. He revealed last month. Doctors discovered the tumour at an early stage when he was treated for a knock on the head. Well, we're sad about that, but quite frankly, he didn't get the sack, did he, either?
No, I don't think so.
Life's unfair, isn't it?
He is a bit of an idiot, though, isn't he? In my personal opinion, I don't know the guy, but somebody who sort of, uses his status to bring celebrities onto programmes and edit them in bad lights is a bit of a prick, if you ask me.
I would concur, and I've met him.
Right.
Okay, but my brother thinks he's great. My brother might be listening at the moment because he's in New Zealand. And my long-lost friend Julian Dukesbury, who has been emailing my wife, haven't heard from him for a while, he wanted me to send him a copy of my book. I said, buy it, you tight-fisted devil.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him since '69. I seriously haven't. So, Jules, if you're listening, send me some photographs. I want to see what you look like. I mean, he was young and very good-looking and long black hair and a bit of a ladies' man. In fact, I met Julian through the first woman I ever had sex with.
Oh, really? Through the first...
Well, he was a part of the group.
The body?
No. I can't... what was her name? Elaine. I better not go anymore. No. But we met... She was a nurse. No, she was a trainee radiographer. And I have on several occasions pointed out the place where I did it to my wife when we've walked past. Because they used to live in a basement flat, just off Baker Street in London. And I met this Elaine girl at a dance one night, and we got it on. First time for me.
Wow.
And I was desperate because I thought I was about to be drafted to Vietnam, and I was going to get shot, and that would be it, and I wouldn't have had sex before I died.
Oh dear, that would have been terrible.
Yeah, but you didn't. Did you ever have those sort of thoughts? I suppose not.
No.
No. I wonder how many people out there my age used to think they were going to be drafted to Vietnam, and Vietnam was a really nasty war. And we got more footage of Vietnam and the fighting than you now get from Iraq or Afghanistan, which is strange, isn't it, really? So, right, if you want to join us, 01243 55 60 60 is the number to ring, 01243 55 60 60. If you want to email me, please do. studio@playradiouk.com. Who was your first imaginary sex with?
Play2UK headlines.
People trying to buy a house may be given a break from one of the most unpopular charges. Stamp duty could be put on hold by the government. 1 in 3 11-year-olds are leaving primary school lagging behind in reading, writing and maths. SATS results have been released even though some schools are still waiting for their final marks. There are some delays at Manchester Airport after a near miss between two planes. It involved a Futura flight to Tenerife and a Lufthansa service to Germany. And the stakes are high for Rangers tonight as they bid to reach the final qualifying round of the Champions League. Walter Smith's men are in Lithuania to play little-known outfit FBK Kaunas.
Play2UK weather.
Shall we do the weather? Don't all speak at once. I think we should do the weather. Let's do the weather. Overcast across northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland with outbreaks of rain. Elsewhere it will be cloudy with intermittent light rain, although some parts could stay dry. Tomorrow, Scotland, Wales, Western England will be cloudy with outbreaks of heavy rain. Elsewhere it will be bright, but heavy showers are also expected. So a lot of people complaining about the rain at the moment. It's good, let me tell you. I have an allotment. Well, Mrs. Whale has an allotment. And at this time of year, one of the jobs I don't like doing is watering. Because it's very dry, and you need to water. And luckily, at the moment, I've had a week off watering. So that's good news. More weather in an hour.
You're up to date on Play2UK.
Websites don't always work to their full potential. In fact, they can seem like a mystic art. Wouldn't it be great if you had someone on hand to wave a magic wand that would optimize, improve, and increase traffic to your website? Fear no more. The Web Wizard is here dispensing web wisdom and free tips. Email your question to Jason Rutland, the Play2 Web Wizard, wizard@playradiouk.com. Then listen at 2:30 p.m. on the last Thursday of every month. The Web Wizard on Play2 with Argo Internet Business Consultants. Growing your ideas. Click argo.uk.com.
Imagine what it's like waiting. Just waiting. Waiting with your life on hold. Waiting for an organ transplant. This year, around 1,000 people in the UK could die waiting. Simply because there aren't enough donors. More of us need to join the NHS organ donor register, so please, Don't wait. Join the register now. Call 0845 60 60 400 or visit uktransplant.org.uk.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies for discerning drinkers the world over. Visit us at playradiouk.com and discover the pure spirit of legend.
James Whale. They can take the man off the radio, but they can't take the voice off air.
Okay, welcome back. James Whale Radio Show, sponsored by Blackadder Single Malt Whiskey. Brought to you by them. And if you want to see the programme, of course, live, you can go to nttbs.com and click on watch. That's all you have to do. Rob Burnett's on Skype. Hi, Rob.
All right, matey. How are you going on? All right.
I'm all right. Where are you?
I'm just in Worksop, buddy.
In Worksop?
In a sunny area.
Home of Robin Hood.
Home of Lee Westwood, champion golfer.
Yeah, and Robin Hood.
Yeah, and I think Neil Entwistle.
Neil Entwistle as well. Oh, my gosh. And that picture of that child cannot surely be you.
What child?
Well, your Skype has a photograph on, and I'm looking at it now.
That's my secret identity, matey.
Is it?
Yeah. You got to keep,
It's a girl, anyway, isn't it?
It's not a girl. That's a handsome young man. That is.
Is it?
It is indeed. Yes.
All right.
You're having a bit of a laugh, aren't you? That's what it is. CCTV, anyway, buddy.
Yeah. I knew it was your mate again, Matt. Your whole way of sussing them out, he's back on. But anyway, never mind.
He's gone.
He's gone, yeah.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah. I'm not standing for it.
Yeah. Oh, you've cut him off?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm blocking him now as well.
Why? I thought you'd do a better job than that. He's conned you twice now.
Well, if
he's conned you twice.
Names, right? There's not much I can do about that, is there?
Isn't there? Oh dear, don't get upset about it, mate. It's not your fault.
I'm just going to have to start screening Skype calls now.
No, leave them. When I first, listen, 35 years ago when I first started doing talk shows on radio, everybody thought it was funny to ring up and say the rudest word you can think of, and eventually it calms down and quiets down. This is a new way of doing radio. Eventually it'll all be like this.
Yeah.
We have employed a woman called the phone Führer, by the way, who answers the sounds like a bloke, apparently some people are saying. The phone Führer answers the phones, lines the calls up, and then we'll talk to you. Because otherwise we get snowed in by nutters, I'm afraid.
There's a long debate on whether the phone Führer is a man or a woman. And
is there?
Well, you've got to think the name, phone Führer. You've got a picture, about 7 foot tall, quite muscularly built.
Woman.
Yeah. Breasts that are pecs.
Breasts that are not pecs, because pecs would not... They are amply fleshed out breasts, with incredibly large nipples, if you look at the... because the phone Führer wears all black catsuit in that shiny PVC stuff. She can't do the zip right up. She's wearing a little military cap. Why are you twitching like that?
Sorry?
You're twitching.
All
right. And she's here to answer the phones. Sounds like a bloke, but then she's quite... Oh, look, just look at it. I'd hate to get my head stuck between those, wouldn't you? Okay.
She tends to shoulder. It'd be like cracking a walnut.
Peter Collins' last email from him tonight. He says, I hope you like this one. Mike Mendoza joining the Play Radio team. He's here from next week. Wednesday and Thursday night, we will get Mike Mendoza here. He'll be doing his programme. I'll be here Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Mike Mendoza. Wouldn't it be fantastic when the squeaky voice leaves your old station? You're not talking about Gaunt, are you? The high-pitched... Midland squeaky voice, yeah. Could he get a slot on Play Radio? Well, I don't know whether he's up to it, but we might, there's a possibility.
Right, well, Rob Burnett is back on Skype.
Is he?
Yes.
Well, I just had him before. I'm bored with him.
You don't want him on?
Well, what does he got? Hang on, let's see. Is there any point, Bob Baby Burnett, to talk to you at all?
No, because you...
Okay, fine. I think your shirt makes you look fruity. Oh, Seamus again. Thank you, Seamus. That's good. And how much would we pay for a documentary on me? Probably wouldn't pay anything, would we? Ah, right, okay. Here we go. This is Bob Shanks. I wonder if he's married to Susan Shanks. off Magpie. It was Layla from Doctor Who, Bob says, that I used to fantasise about. What? Yeah, Layla. Do you remember Layla in Doctor Who? Yeah, she was... No, you don't
I can't stand Doctor Who. What a rubbish programme.
No, right, I love it. I mean, just looking for easy shots again. I love Doctor Who. This one's from Mazin Ahmed Osman, who says, I'm 22 years old. My dad has just told me not to switch the computer off when I'm finished. Does that mean that I should get up off it now or until the end of the show? He does have to get up and go to work tomorrow morning very early, but as do I. As for my first imaginary sex, do imaginary girlfriends count? Yeah, of course, Maz in Ipswich, yeah. Yeah, girlfriends count. Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. Bashir Chinak. Is that how you pronounce that? Chinak? Yeah. Bashir, send me an email with your name written phonetically so I know how to pronounce it. His first imaginary sex was with Sally James off Tiswas. You remember her?
No.
No, you wouldn't. No. He also says, that was my first imaginary sex. My last imaginary sex was Louise Minchin on that Sunday morning programme thing that you were on last weekend. That sexy little minx. I never thought of her as sexy, but I suppose so. She's tall.
Yeah.
Very tall. Louise Minchin. I called her Minchkin.
That's right, yeah.
And she giggled.
About her last night,
Louise Minchkin. Yeah, she is quite sexy. I'm not sure. I don't know whether she's mad. I knocked a crafty one out for Louise. When the missus was downstairs making a brew. And you know what I was up to when you had that po-faced girl reading your Sunday papers with Pogue-faced girl reading the Sunday papers with Louise. Oh, Git, the po-faced Git with Louise. No, he was all right. He was okay. I can't remember what his name was, Gorf, but he was all right. He was a sports psychologist. Okay, one more, and then we'll maybe take a little break after this. I was just watching news at 10, where they were reporting on Ethiopia. Apparently children are starving there because the UN can't afford to feed them. There were pictures of children as young as a few months old that looked like skeletons. I can't believe that the UN does not have enough money to feed these people. When you look at the hell that these people go through, it makes you think how lucky we are in the West. Errol, you're right, Errol, and I saw that news report as well. And I thought it was strange, the amount of money. Is this just a bit of reporting, really, to say how much more can the prices go up? And if we think we're badly done here in the West, just think what other people are having to suffer. That's a very good point. But you know, it's horses for courses. I think there is a tendency for people to switch off now when they show people in Africa starving, malnourished children. I think they've overdone it, and I think people now just turn their heads the other way, and I think that's terribly sad. I can't understand why we can't sort the problems of Africa out. There has to be an understanding, doesn't there, that there are some parts of the world that are just not habitable, and there are some countries where populations are going to have to be moved. How we do it, I don't know. Maybe somebody else cleverer than me will come up with the idea. Right, okay, 01243 55 60 60 if you want to phone in, have a chat, 01243 55 60 60, phone the number, speak to the phone Führer, and come on the air. Peter Chapman wants to talk. Does he want to talk or not? No, he's the one marry me for British citizenship. He's a pilot too. And you can Skype us at play.radio.uk, and you can email the show at by emailing studio@playradiouk.com. Goody. I've reached a hiatus. Do you know your tea is improving?
Is it?
Yeah, your tea is improving. Not greatly, but it is improving.
David from Leicester says Surveillant from Blake 7 was his imaginary sex.
Oh, Servalan. Yeah, no, so Servalan, she was flipping hot. She was the woman I was talking about the other day who has had completely shaved head, I think, and looked very sexy. In fact, looked a bit like the phone Führer.
Oh, right.
You know, that sort of kind of tight, Yeah. Whatever happened to the woman who played Servalan in Blake 7? Not a show you will remember.
No, I don't know.
Died off before you were born. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, very good indeed. Have we got your first imaginary sex yet or not?
No, I can't think of it.
I was prepared to tell you mine, and I would have thought that you would have been prepared to tell me yours. But I can't believe you won't. But there we are. There's something else I was going to talk about. I've lost I lost the plot. Well, I've lost the plot years ago. We know that, don't we? Oh, gosh, can't find it. Hang on. Bring back Spangles. Did you see this story?
No.
Spangles, last sold more than 20 years ago, is the brand we'd most like to see revived. I hated Spangles. We talked about Whispers last night. I hated Spangles. The square suites produced by Mars from the 1950s beat Triumph cars. I'd rather see Triumph cars come back. And British Rail in a new poll. It follows the announcement that Cadbury is to bring back the Whisper chocolate bar for good after a trial run. Marathon and Opal Fruits, the original British names for Snickers and Starburst, are also set to return. Expert Stephen Kalitis, I hope that's how you pronounce his name. I was going to say Stephen Clitoris and then decided it couldn't be that. Said there's a strange nostalgia for things that seem to have been suspended by big brands. All right. Spangles. I don't know if I fancy Spangles or not.
Right, we need to take a break. And Peter Chapman on Skype.
Yeah, who's Peter Chapman? I thought we weren't going to bother with him.
Why not?
Well, because he's that pillock who says, marry me for British citizenship.
You can't just say that.
I can't just say it, didn't I?
Everybody who calls in's a pillock to you, isn't there?
No, a lot of people are. I mean, some of the ones who ring in and say stupid things and then ring in again. No, not everybody, obviously. You know, I like Fat Steve, I like some of our regulars, but I'm just sort of working out which regulars I want to have on.
Well, some of them you've got to give a chance first, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Push the button, James.
Which one?
The break button, the one that's under the paper, the one that's running us late.
Really? That's your fault, lousy producers. You're not keeping the show.
I'm producing it, right?
Sunday night, the James Whale Radio Show.
Right.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies, award-winning single malt. Visit PlayRadioUK.com and have the pure spirit of legend delivered to your door.
James Whale.
You see, you know, you messed it up there, Matt. You do that again, reach over and touch my knob like that again, there'll be trouble, trust me. Now you're a break short, aren't you? No, you're a break short now because of that. Yeah, you're a break short. The James Whale Radio Show brought to you by Blackadder Single Malt Whiskey, the favourite sipping whiskey of the intelligentsia. Sorry about Matt, we're trying to get new producer. Might even get the Fuhrer in, who knows? Now, I saw a new caller there on Skype a moment ago.
No, he's in the queue. Peter Chapman is up there.
Peter Chapman's the one who's got marry me for British citizenship. He's a pillock. See? He's a prat. Listen to him.
I was waiting to be asked to speak.
Look. What do you mean, asked to speak? Who do you think you are, the Queen?
You're the boss.
True enough. True enough. Maybe you're not such a pillock as I thought.
I have respect.
Yeah, you see, now actually...
raised well.
Yeah, that's a good point, Matt. You see, if you've been brought up properly, not dragged up, you would understand. Now, I like you. I've decided I'm changing my mind, Peter. I like you.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
May I say that...
I don't like you a lot. Don't get carried away. I don't just like you a little bit because obviously you realise respect is a very important thing. A very important thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Speaking about the whole citizenship, I had a Brazilian lady want to improve her English language with me today.
You had a what?
A Brazilian lady wanted to improve her English language with me today.
Oh, you're in Brazil?
No, I'm not, but she was Brazilian using Skype and was typing to me.
I see, and a Brazilian woman wanted to improve... I just tried a new camera angle, it's okay. A Brazilian woman wanted to improve her English with you?
Yeah.
But then she'll end up talking like a prat.
I thought it was a pillock.
Well, I don't care. I have to change it. You can't use the same. Well, yeah, it's a P word. So how do you know that this was a real woman and not just a ladyboy from Rio?
Good point.
Yeah, you see, you didn't check it out, did you?
Should have asked they had a webcam.
Yeah, and didn't they have a webcam?
I didn't ask.
I don't know what to say to you, mate.
You're disappointed, aren't you?
Yeah. Who are you talking to there? Have you got somebody with you?
No.
No, because you haven't got any friends, have you?
That's why I listen to Play Radio 24/7, apart from when I sleep.
Do you sleep? I've got a frog in my throat now. You've made me froggy. Do you sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you do when do you have to work, or are you a professional Play Radio listener?
I am a professional Play Radio listener.
And do they pay well?
No.
Oh. Well, that's what Matt said, but I thought in your case it might have been different because they need listeners, and if you're a professional listener, you'd be more useful than Matt. That's all the only thing that was occurring to me. Now listen, Peter, marry me for British citizenship, Chapman. What was it you actually did come on here to talk about?
Oh, the sex thing.
The sex thing. Do you think you're qualified, really? Yes, probably you are, actually, when I think about it. So who do you have imaginary sex with?
Well, I was young and, what's the word, virile when the Gladiators came onto British TV. Not the remake on Sky, but
Jet!
when it was on ITV.
Jet.
No, not Jet.
That's who it was.
Lightning was the better one.
Lightning was
The one
good.
with blonde hair.
Lightning was nice. I met Lightning a few times. She's pretty... I wonder where they are now. Jet was good. And who was that really tall, dark girl, the bigger girl? Was that Jet?
No. She had dark hair, but she was white in skin colour. But she just did a photo shoot for a lads mag a couple of weeks ago, looking hot still.
Really?
And I met one of the latest Gladiators, Enigma, who is absolutely gorgeous.
Is she?
Oh, yeah.
How did you meet her, you dirty little...
At Miss England. She was one of the judges.
What were you doing at Miss England?
I'm their DJ.
At Miss England?
Yeah.
I wanted to know why I was never asked to be a judge.
I'll get you in next year.
Can you?
Yeah.
I mean, I am one of the judges of the National Curry Awards. That's one of my favourite jobs.
That's not a Miss England thing, though, really, is it?
Oh, it's at the Grosvenor House Hotel in London. It's a huge... I'd invite you, but you don't have a dicky bow. So anyway, back to you, Pete.
Yeah, Lightning from Gladiators.
Yeah, Lightning from Gladiators. And how long did that little affair last?
Until she... Actually, no, she didn't leave. She stayed the whole course, didn't she, I believe?
Have you ever managed to get a real girlfriend, or is it always imaginary?
Well, get this, I do actually have a girlfriend.
No! Really?
Yeah.
Finally, he admits it publicly.
You've got a girlfriend? My gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could see you. Have you not got a webcam?
No.
Can you see me?
There's plenty of videos of me on the internet, though. Matt can...
I don't want to see one of you.
You have to pay a subscription, though.
Really? Yeah. Why?
Because before I liked girls, I dabbled with other things and got paid for it.
Really?
Yes.
You are disgusting.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Anyway, you've made me feel quite ill now. Thank you very much indeed. One of your friends, your fetish friends. Yeah. One of your fetish friends. It's pretty disgusting.
People, my friend.
Yeah. Do you think I'll take that break now we missed or not?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Right. Who's next?
That's it for
Is it?
Yeah, I'm looking. I do have a Kevin Rosenberg to call back.
Well, I saw Kevin Rosenberg. Yeah, but
I just can't find him at the minute.
Right. Okay. We've got any emails out there? Bring us a few emails, Führer. Phone Führer, thank you very much indeed. And let me remind you the numbers again. At 10 to 11, an hour and a bit to go. If you want to join us, you could Skype me at play.radio.uk, emailing studio@playradiouk.com, and phone us ordinarily, at 01243 55 60 60. That's 01243 55 60 60. And get on the programme. Now, Matthew Craig, hi Matthew, he says, the dark girl from Gladiators used to work for Big TV. I'm sure Andy will fill you in. Andy, my mate at Bid TV, unless you would like Peter Simon to fill you in. No, thank you very much. We should get Peter Simon on the show one night. I'll ask him to... You remember Peter Simon used to do lots on children's TV, and now works for Bid TV. Matthew Craig, thank you very much indeed. Matthew, do you work at Bid as well? Is that how I know you, Matthew, or not? Live, I don't know. I wonder where he comes from. He seems to know a lot about Bid TV. I'm on Friday on Bid TV, 4:30 until 7:30. Trying to behave myself. This is from James Jones. Says, hello, James. Oh, I've got a flipping loose connection. Do you fix that loose connection in your headphones?
You keep fiddling with it.
Well, this one just goes every now and then. Hello, James. Nice to see you getting a good teacup service from your now learning slacker, Matt. Though he learning, I hope, as we will all do. All right? Actually, James hasn't really mastered English yet. I hope you got something in that cup of tea, something like a bit of single malt whiskey. Ha ha. Matt bragged up.
I think that's meant to be dragged.
Oh, dragged up. Now, that sound very funny. Well, respect. Well, all for now, even hearing a Pratt Matt trying to remember his first love. Well, wonder ever he will even get a feel. You're warmly.
And he's calling me a Pratt. Oh dear, Rob, you've no idea.
Rob, not James Jones, a Long fan. Oh, Mark Paul. Hi, Mark. He says, James, excellent shows. Usually says, you're sounding very invigorated these days. My first imaginary sex was probably with Jamie Lee Curtis after watching Trading Places. She was hot. Very hot. Although I soon turned my attention to Princess Leia. No, what?
Leia. Princess Leia.
Princess Leia. I thought it was Princess Leia.
No, Leia.
Oh, right, Leia. I never fancied her. She always seemed too sort of clean. I like him a bit dirty.
Well, there was always that incestual relationship with her brother Luke.
Exactly. After seeing her in her skimpy gold outfit in Return of the Jedi. By the way, think my other half's developing an attraction to you. She seems to be enjoying gazing at you via the webcam.
You're in there.
Send me a photograph. Thank you, Mark. Right, okay. Princess Leia. No. Was something a bit raunchy, bit dirty, bit, you know. Yeah, I don't know how I got onto this, but imaginary sex was a topic we saw. I got bored with talking about politics because it's always happening. The price of fuel, death and destruction. So I just fancy something a little different. Imaginary sex. And the first time you had it, and who with? Was it a famous person, or was it just somebody you knew?
We have Richard Savage on Skype.
Who's he?
Richard Savage.
Richard Savage, hi. Richard.
Is it working?
Well, ours is working. Is yours?
I can hear you.
Good.
Hello?
Hello.
That's James.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh!
No shame. You see, this is what happens now. We don't tolerate the tit heads anymore.
Yeah.
But he managed to get through, and I suppose, do they not have? There's no way you can tell.
Well, no, not unless.
Oh, okay. So, can they? I mean, don't they have to have an? Isn't it like having an email address, having a Skype account?
No, because you can change the name on your Skype in seconds and call up as someone different.
All right. So I can mention their names on Skype, but I can't mention an email address.
Well, no, because the name that we see on Skype is chosen to show name. It's not their real name.
But you see, people who send illegal emails, and some do, you know, threatening and very nasty emails, they obviously send an imaginary email address, or not, because sometimes you get an email address and there's no replies from it, or you can't trace it. Oh, I don't understand it, stuff it. But if somebody sends me a threatening email, it gets broadcast. And
I think too right.
If the government don't like it, they know what they can do. I don't care anymore. Right, www.nttbs is where you can watch us live on as well. All the W's, nttbs.com. Click on watch, and there you can see it. Earlier tonight we was talking about the McCanns as well, and I I really do think some of the people who have spent a lot of their time and effort in ridiculing and condemning the McCanns should now be apologising profusely to them, and I hope they feel suitably embarrassed for their appalling outburst. They know who they are. There have been websites set up purely to get at the McCanns by people who are no better than the stuff you scrape off your shoes. Right. Okay, next is... I was going to do something, I've forgotten what it was, but it doesn't matter really. Who are you talking to? Claire?
Claire, no.
What's wrong with your eyes, for goodness sake?
Nothing.
You've got fleas.
No.
All right. Okay. I was going to look in the paper again. There was a story I wanted to talk about. I can't find it. I saw it earlier, and I thought, I'm going to have to talk about that. And unfortunately, you know, you look through it and you find, poor old Wellard's dying.
What, the dog from EastEnders?
Yeah, EastEnders fans have suffered the heartbreak of seeing top characters such as Dirty Den, Tiffany and Barry killed off. But sales of tissues are expected to go through the roof next week as Albert Square's nomadic pooch Wellard finally bow-wows out.
I can't believe they're actually making a big deal of writing out a dog.
Wellard, who, with 14 years on screen, is one of the show's longest-running characters, will pass away after an emotional farewell from his latest keepers, the Jackson family. The show insider said Wellard has been a much-loved character and everyone will be sad to see him go. But if you think about it, Wellard was not a puppy when he arrived on Albert Square, so he would be over 100 in dog years by now. Oh, he's a lovely-looking dog, isn't he? Oh, dear. That's a shame, isn't it? That's a shame. This is...
Last time they made a big deal of writing out a dog in EastEnders, it was Martin's mum that went, wasn't it?
That's not nice. That's not even funny. A sick couple... This is the story I wanted to talk about. There are a couple of stories. There's one... Did you see the face-to-face with the Facebook thug? McKinney, who refused to say sorry. He attacked this girl, and they filmed it and then put it on Facebook. And quite frankly, he should be hung. Probably not until he dies, but just hang him by his arms for a couple of days, and that'll sort him out. The teenager who punched a girl so hard she fell off her feet because she soaked him during a fun water fight. Daniel McKinnery admitted he was in the wrong but refuses to apologise unless she says sorry first for chucking pink liquid over his T-shirt. The 16-year-old said he blew his top after being drenched because he was not even there for the water fight organised through the Facebook website. McKinnery added, we're both in the wrong. She shouldn't go around throwing juice in my face. Grow up, you stupid, arrogant little pillock. You know, who the flipping heck do you think you are, mate? You just look like a young thug. And quite frankly, I wonder what your parents have to say about it. I'm looking through to see if your parents said anything about it. The girl splashed you. Okay, bit of a laugh, you know, and then you go and punch her in the face. You are a prat.
Don't like people like that.
No, I don't either. The young lady in question said it was a shock. It had been fun until then, but I'm okay, and I won't be taking any action. I would. But the story I'm more concerned about, and making actually a hero out of a kid who has no idea or control over the way he behaves. This is about a sick couple who starved their dog so badly it was just skin and bones when rescued from its misery. Peter Quinn and his girlfriend Angela Flowers. Remember these names, guys. Peter Quinn and Angela Flowers left the animal to sleep in its own waste and survive by eating old food dumped on the floor. Peter Quinn and Angela Flowers go in my scum bag. Okay, they're scum. They go in the scum bag tonight. Peter Quinn and Angela Flowers. All right? Just remember these names. RSPCA officers raided their homes. They found the Staffordshire Terrier called Zeus surrounded by hundreds of beer cans and wine bottles. Wheelchair-bound Quinn of Gateshead, Tyne and Wear, could now face jail. I'd stick him in jail after admitting causing unnecessary suffering to the dog. Flowers, 38, was convicted of the charge at Blaydon Magistrates Court. What an embarrassment to the North East these two are. And they will be sentenced later. RSPCA Inspector Lindsay Avery said after the case, the house was disgusting. You know, just because you happen to be an invalid is absolutely, in my view, no excuse whatsoever. And what is it about people who seem to treat appallingly these poor... The Staffordshire Bull Terriers are some of the most amazing animals I've ever have been in company of. They're lovely dogs. And unfortunately, the scum are using them as... And anything that looks like a fighting dog. You see these blokes dragging them around on bits of rope or chain. You know, you've seen the blokes, haven't you? They all look the same. They wear the tracksuits, they got the hat on skewy, and they drag these dogs around. I'm sorry, but I'd put them down. Not the dogs, the owners. All right? And Peter Quinn and Angela Flowers... Sorry, what did I say?
I just clicked onto the Peter... Very funny.
Peter Quinn and Angela Flowers are scum. And they should, you know... How do people get away with this? How come they don't get sent to prison?
Don't know.
They should be, in my view.
We'll discuss that after we've paid the bills.
Are you sure? Okay.
Profits, go the extra mile for your customers, and bring loyalty to your business? Then you need Play in Store. In-house or online, Play in Store is your personal, made-to-measure music and marketing tool. As part of the Play Radio network, we are experts at creating the perfect radio station for your customers, in turn delivering an increase in sales, staff morale and brand awareness. Go to playinstore.co.uk.
Here at Play Radio UK, we're dedicated to providing you with a fully interactive website and music service. Choose from 11 stations playing all kinds of music 24 hours a day. While away the hours with loads of games in the playground. Interact with other users and find answers to all your technical problems in the forums. Find out who's on when, what we're up to and what we look like. Although some of us are more photogenic than others. PlayRadioUK.com. Internet radio, your way. Broadcasting live to the UK. News, information, entertainment, and the best music from the past 40 years. This is Play2UK. James Whale. Call 01243 55 60 60. Email studio@playradiouk.com. Skype play.radio.uk. Live and unleashed. The James Whale Radio Show on Play2UK with Blackadder Whiskies. Mouth-watering malt straight to your door. Visit playradiouk.com and set your taste buds free.
James Whale. Silence was never an option.
Okie dokie, last hour of the show tonight from 11 till midnight. Don't forget, Monday and Tuesday here at Play Radio UK, and also via my own website at jameswhaleradio.com, the James Whale Radio Show from 8 until midnight. Next week, my old friend and colleague Mike Mendoza joins us here at Play Radio UK. You can hear him on Wednesday and Thursday. The Whale, Monday and Tuesday, the Mendoza, Wednesday and Thursday. Play Radio UK. Tell your friends, join us. Okay, so on the show tonight, we've been talking about the McCanns and how badly they've been treated, and I think if you read through the papers, you will actually see that it is appalling. We talked about Martin Bashir, the born-again Christian, who, of course, rose to fame on his interview with Princess Diana, and his outburst at a recent Asian journalist meeting where he said he was getting very excited being surrounded by so many Asian babes, so we talked about that. We're talking about first imaginary sex. When did you have your first imaginary sex? And we just recently started a conversation about people who abuse animals. We are, I'm afraid to say, a nation of animal abusers. And we also spoke to Derek Conway, a former Tory whip, a man who I feel has been wrongly ridiculed in the press. There are many members of Parliament who screw us for everything they can get. I don't believe Derek was like that. He paid his kids to work for him, and they did the work. The fact they didn't go in to the House of Commons seems to me to be totally irrelevant. When there are members of the government, shadow cabinet, very high up members of the political party, he doesn't seem to get any. You know, poor old Derek got enormous amount of stick for what he did, and I think he will be sadly missed. But and I'm sure he would join me in saying the best way to bring democracy back to this country at the next election. He doesn't think it's going to be until 2010. But the next election, everybody get out there and vote for somebody other than your sitting member of Parliament, and that will work. So that's what we've been doing on the show so far tonight. What?
We have caller on line 1.
We've got caller on line 1.
Yeah.
Are we talking to caller?
Well, he's always good for a laugh. I mean, it's
I don't know.
nice to have somebody to pity.
Okay, well, let's pity caller for a moment. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I'm just getting round to pushing the button. I should bloody well think so. Who the hell do you think you are? Yeah. Right, caller, are you there?
I just thought I'd ring in and save the show at this late hour.
Oh, good. Well, go on, carry on. I'm going to put my feet up for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think you should. I was intrigued by your who you had fantasy sex with.
Imaginary.
Imaginary.
Yeah, stick to the plot. Who was the first person you ever had imaginary sex with? We know what we're talking about.
Yeah, what do you mean imaginary? Do you mean like...
Listen, if you're just here because I think you get a kick out of this, you know exactly what I mean. Do you need me to spell it out for you?
Well, again, you've confused me.
Find the white stick.
Find the white...
Oh, never mind. Listen, never mind. Who was the first woman you ever thought, who gave you stirrings?
Why are you assuming it's a woman?
All right, who was the first bloke who gave you stirrings?
Well, it's quite an exciting night for me because I'm actually speaking to him.
Yeah. I asked for that, didn't I? Yeah, no, I asked for that. I don't know.
No, it was Prunella Scales.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
When she was in 40 Towers, when she used to shout at Basil like that.
How?
Basil!
Basil!
And I can remember I used to have to lie face down on the carpet. Things were stirring, man.
Yeah, like Martin Bashir when he was surrounded by Asian babes.
Well, I can appreciate that. I am a connoisseur of the Asian woman.
No, well, I'm a connoisseur of the woman.
Well,
I don't mind what sort of woman as long as it's a woman.
Well, no, I've done some specialist research in the Asian market.
Fat bottom girls, I'm sure you have, but I think best for you to keep that to yourself. Don't you think? Yeah, I do. Yeah, probably just as well. I've got 2 fatwas at the moment. We don't need a third, do we?
Have you got a fat one?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I had one for a long time.
We also have Chris on Skype.
Shall we talk? Okay, we'll talk to Chris on Skype. Chris, you're on the air.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, Chris. Where are you from?
I'm from Birmingham.
Oh, it's him. Birmingham, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
In air. You hear me or what?
Yes, or what, basically.
Yes, or what? All right, then. Well, in that case, seeing as I'm addressing you, I will speak as clearly and as lamely as I can. I have a very good idea. Are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
All right, I have a very good idea, politically speaking. If we had a coalition, then nobody would have to vote.
If we had a coalition, nobody would have to vote. Well, but that would be fine. But that would be a dictatorship. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it rather depends who is in charge in a dictatorship, doesn't it?
Wouldn't at all. It's a coalition. Everybody's getting on. Everybody's doing, they represent everybody, so we wouldn't have to go out and vote, would we?
I don't follow your reasoning, but then it's hardly surprising.
I don't follow yours most of the while, if you don't mind me saying so, Mr. Whale.
No, it's a free country. You're allowed to make a fool of yourself publicly. It's a free country. I don't
think so. I am not in public. I am hidden. You can't see me. I haven't got my camera on. So I don't think I'm making a fool of myself, unlike Eduardo.
He doesn't exist anymore.
Eduardo, he's bang on, man.
He doesn't exist.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
He doesn't
Just because
exist.
he's suffering from a credit crunch doesn't mean you should kick him when he's down, does it?
Well, I think he was an estate agent. I think we've got every right.
Well, I know you got it, but that's what I'm saying. He's a nice bloke. He's not just like any estate agent you'd see in the, in the high streets. He's our Eduardo.
Yeah.
He's a background geese, man. He sings in Spanish. And I don't know whether he dances in Spanish. He probably dances in Spanish as well, you know. Yeah. And everybody that's listening to you, if you don't mind me saying so, Mr. Well, I'm very, very proud at this moment.
Oh, good.
To speak to you and to be able to be involved in this wonderful endeavour. We're all checking, you know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get back to your first ever imaginary sex then, if you can think that.
Well, I was ringing up about.
I thought it was, yeah. I just thought it probably was, yeah.
Going back a little bit,
yes, I realise that.
Before what you call masturbation was invented, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And I had what you call arousals, feelings towards the late, great Gracie Fields.
Yes, well, that you know, I think we must remember that absolutely every people were young at different stages of existence, and the fact that you've lived so long.
30 enough, or what?
Is what? Yeah, well, I'm not. I can't actually, off the top of my head, remember what Gracie Fields looked like. But yes, I have no reason to think that she wasn't.
Yes. She didn't have much up top. She didn't have what you call a top deck.
No, right, okay. But I mean, I think I think that obviously you were a young man at the time, and she was a little older, and you know.
I wasn't that young at the time. I was. This is one of my first incarnations. Just before.
Who called Gracie Fields up for me here? Was that you? Well, I am now surrounded by pictures of Gracie Fields, and I can tell you, I am not. She's hot.
Well, you know,
she's hot.
In what you call a bodice, you could.
Yeah. There's, you know, She go back to the early ones a bit, Matt. Go back to the early ones. Gracie Fields, English singer.
I'm missing Ace here, you know. I haven't got her up.
Hang on, why have I got ABBA here? Oh, Gracie, yeah, very nice. Gracie Fields, yeah, look her in her day, yeah.
Gracie in a 10-man slam, what do you reckon?
Sally, did she sing Sally?
The Alley.
Sally Up the Alley, did she sing Sally Up the Alley? All right, okay, well, there we are. Yeah. Well, it's
the thing that's going to win the war.
That's it. You know, she was one of the other sweethearts to all the soldiers, wasn't she?
Well, I was a soldier then, James, myself.
Yeah.
I was a stormtrooper. Anyway, I'm very nice to speak to you on Skype. I hope I haven't missed the Raelians.
No, the Raelians are coming soon.
I know. Well, I'd like to join up. Perhaps if they could send me a thing in the post, a bit of literature.
I'll see what I can do. Thank you very much indeed. That's Chris from Birmingham. Actually, next week we have a UFO special. Nick Pope from the Ministry. We've also got Richard Lawrence from the Etheria Society. We hope we might actually have Alex Jones as well. So we will have a bit of a conspiracy and UFO fest next Monday and Tuesday.
We have Vicky on line 1.
Vicky?
On the phone.
On line 1, okay. All right, well, I'll press the button. Vicky. Is that the Vicky?
I believe so, but I don't know.
Vicky. Okay. Vicky. Oh, Vicky.
Yeah.
Vicky.
Yeah, that Vicky.
Vicky Sicky.
No, not Sicky.
Sicky Vicky.
No, I had toothache.
You got what?
I had toothache over the weekend.
So?
Well, it was very painful.
Oh, darling.
Yeah, I know. I was in a really foul mood all weekend.
Well, right, I see. That's why you didn't call me yesterday, was it? Right.
No. The kids are on holiday. I'm knackered all the time.
You're knackered all the time. Your choice to have kids, darling, not mine.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, you are. You just complain you're knackered all the time.
No, you said you were on yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was knackered, so I didn't phone.
Yeah. Why are you not Skyping me? Why are you phoning me sort of in this way?
Because I can't bother with the Skype because you get like the feedback and it cuts out and it's so much easier on the phone, really.
But you know, Skype is so much better quality.
Do you want me to call you back on Skype?
Well, only if you've got it sorted properly.
Well,
no.
It is now. I had to uninstall and reinstall it because it wasn't working properly.
Oh, we'll save it for next week. We've got it now. We're going to take a break in a minute or so. What's going on? First imaginary sex, first of all.
Imaginary sex.
Yeah.
Well, that's all it would be, I can assure you. This is a bit depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, first ever. Come on, first.
What about imaginary sex? What do you want me to say about it?
God, you haven't been listening, have you?
No.
Why? You just ring in, don't you? You don't even flipping listen. You just ring in. You're addicted to ringing in programs. You don't even bloody listen.
My children have been on the computer until 15 minutes ago. I can hardly kick them off. And my son's having a child for sleepover, which means that they completely have monopolised the computer all day. But they are actually going to Spain the day after tomorrow. So I will actually be, listening both days next week.
So next week, I won't be able to get away from you next week, will I?
Yeah, I'll be phoning you every 5 minutes.
Next week.
You'll love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mendoza's coming next week. He's going to be here Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Well, I heard something about he's not on Talk Sport anymore.
No, he's joining Playradio UK from next week.
Excellent. They're getting all the big names now, aren't they?
Well, he is big. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. And I've heard you're filling in for a week.
I'm filling in with your friends for a week, yes.
Yeah. Send them my love.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they've been very nice to me. What can I tell you?
Oh, well, I'm glad they have been very nice to you.
Now, listen, we were talking, and this is a lousy line again, I put it down to you. We were talking about imaginary sex. For me, the first time I ever had that kind of, little thing going on there, was with Christine Truman.
Are you talking about fantasising?
Yeah.
All right, okay. What did you say about sexual fantasies?
No, imagine...
Imagining
it. Boys, started at a fairly early age.
Oh, trust me, women do too.
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm trying to be tasteful. I'm trying not to, not to sink to the...
smart.
Yeah, I'm trying not to, I'm trying to be... So, we've had an enormous amount of response from, from people that a lot of Blue Peter presenters seem to be in there right at the beginning of people's lives. And...
you know who I had a really big thing about when I was in my teens?
Yeah.
Trevor Eve. Oh. Sex on legs.
Trevor Eve.
Yeah.
He's now in that new series, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but is it...
What?
Waking the Dead. Was he in Waking the Dead?
I think so, but he's always in one of the sort of the highbrow dramas.
Yeah, but he used
to...
He used to play the part of being a DJ on a talk radio station.
He was being stalked. By somebody.
What was it called? What was that program called?
I don't know.
Filmed in Bristol. What was that TV show? Come on, for goodness sake, Matt, you must remember.
I don't know.
You don't know? What was it? Where what was his name again? Trevor Eve played the part of a detective who appeared on a radio talk show. And then all the cases stem from people calling in.
Oh, yeah, I know which one you
mean. What was the name of
it? That
yeah, but they're all the same, aren't they?
Shoestring?
Shoestring, that's right, Shoestring.
Thank you, Oscar.
Yeah, Shoestring.
What I will say is I'll never live in Cabot Cove or Midsummer.
I wouldn't, because you got a chance of being bumped off.
Well, it's worse than Brixton, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. Probably is, and probably doesn't have the good food that Brixton has.
Well, yeah, and the vibrant culture.
And the vibrant culture, yeah.
Yeah, that was my old stomping ground in terms of my catchment area when I worked for my old employers. Yeah.
So that was your first imaginary sex. You used to.
No, not my first.
Oh, wasn't your first? Well, we're trying to get to the first time ever that you began to fantasize. And who was it about? And was it about somebody famous?
It wasn't about somebody famous, and I was incredibly young. It was about a guy who worked in the factories behind my house called Julian.
Right, okay.
And
he must have been a big thing.
Him and, just like, you talk to him and talk. I stood a cat's chance with him, but clearly...
You did what?
It was never going to happen. I thought I stood a cat's chance with him.
How old were you?
Very young.
How old?
About 11.
Oh, my God.
I told you we started young. You didn't believe me.
Well, no, this is the thing that parents don't seem to, that I remember when I had this great crush, the first one I remember, when I was about 13, and my dad had taken us to, and I remember it was at the Beach Hotel on the seafront in Worthing.
Yeah.
And we gone there for a week, and there was this blonde girl who must have been 14. And just, I thought she was the most gorgeous thing I'd ever. I kept trying to work out ways of bumping into her and talking to her.
14 or 40?
No, 14, darling.
Okay.
14,
I was
darling.
going to say, blimey.
40 would be a little late for any.
That'd be worrying, actually.
Yeah, but you know, it's amazing how parents still seem to think their kids don't even think about sex until they get to about 16.
Oh, I'm quite realistic in that respect, because I know, you know, I've got a 13-year-old daughter now, and, you know, I'm waiting for her to really sort of start talking about boys, and she hasn't yet. She doesn't seem to want to know.
Well,
so.
this is an interesting thing, but this is proved not to be the case. But a lot of kids are always. I wouldn't have wanted to talk about it with my mum. I wouldn't have wanted to talk about sex with my mum or dad.
Oh, no.
No?
Oh, God, no.
When my dad gave me the birds and bees talk, it was because I think I was about 13, and he walked in on me in the shower by mistake, and I'd had a go at him. I'd sort of collapsed in the shower in a ball and gone, Dad, get out, get out! And he pulled me downstairs that night and said, so I just want to talk to you. He said, during your life, you go through certain changes. I got up and walked out and went, Dad, I don't need to hear this. Just don't walk in on me in the shower. It's rude. And that was it. That was our birds and the bees.
That was it?
You know,
yeah.
I've had to have that sort of conversation with my son, because my ex-husband's not very good at those sorts of things. And I've actually had the body changing and, you know, hormones changing and sort of conversation with my son. And the poor little bugger was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
He was, like, really, really embarrassed. And you know, I just sort of said, but I made it funny rather than, you know, being...
But I never had that discussion with my parents, and I don't remember ever having... Because we had that discussion in the playground, reading Health and Efficiency, and, you know, what other lads have learnt off their big brothers. And then we progressed to Parade, and then, of course... Hopefully we progress to the real thing. But I'd have been mortified if my parents had wanted to talk about that.
Well,
but I think people should stop assuming that kids are not sexual or don't think about sexual things until they get to about 12 or 13.
I think this is the problem, isn't there? There's a fine line between being a prude and being too open about it. And it's trying to strike that balance with your kids. That's almost impossible.
I mean, there are people who've been saying, well, we think we should start really, you know, preliminary discussions with sort of 5-6-year-olds about sex. And probably I remember these discussions and these looking at nudie pictures before I took the 11+, so I must have been 9 or 10 or something like that.
Oh, I cleared my son's bedroom out the other day, and I found something in his bedroom, and I wet myself laughing, and I just put it back. I just thought, I'm not even gonna remove it. It'll be more embarrassing for him to think I found it.
Yeah.
Oh, you found a dildo.
What? Shut up.
I found some pictures of scantily clad women.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he obviously got it from a magazine somewhere. And I found these pictures, and he's like 11, he's going up to high school this year.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know, I laughed and went, oh, and just put it back. I just thought that was just like so sweet.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think that's probably the right way. But and you've had a chat to him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the right way, and that's, you know, that's why. I don't know. I forget how I got onto this first imaginary sex, but for me, as I said, it was Christine Truman, the tennis player, and. Various other people. I think Cilla Black was in there as well. I used to keep pictures of Cilla Black under my bed.
Cilla Black?
Cilla Black in a bikini. I had her. Well, it's a long time ago.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, she was hot.
A picture of Cilla Black under your pillow.
In the 60s, she was hot.
Well, yeah. I mean, she was the girl next door hot, I think, wasn't she?
Yeah, but I mean, well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
No, Girl Next Door is sometimes better than over glamorous.
Well, Girls Next Door, sometimes I think actually I did have for a short while. I lived with a girl next door who was, I think she was about 16 and I was about, I don't know, 13. And that was, whew, dear me, dear. And I thought she, in fact, I remember meeting another girl, just reminded myself, I was at an archery competition. In where was it? In Moseley, in Surrey. Yeah. And I was shooting on the same target as this girl who was wearing a very short... You had to wear green or white to take part in these. Very short green skirt and long blonde hair.
Oh, my goodness.
And I got her phone number. And she was the first girl I ever phoned up.
Did you hook up in the end?
No.
Oh.
Sure, obviously no. And I used to keep... For months, I used to try and... and then I phoned her up and said, "Oh, hi. Do you want to go to the pictures?" And she always used to make an excuse and say, "But give us a..." And of course, we never went out. I mean, she was obviously killing herself laughing about it.
Do you know what? I had this guy when I was about 15, 16, and I sort of kind of went between Bournemouth and London when I was in my teens, and there was this guy that used to do leaflet drops for my dad's business, and he was absolute bastard to me, really nasty to me. And anyway, one day he was in my dad's kitchen in the restaurant that my dad owned, and he was sort of, he just came up to me. He was really being very awkward around me, and then just suddenly said to me, "I've liked you for months. Can we go out sometime?" But he was so mean and so nasty, and it was beyond the pigtail pulling nasty. It was like, sort of bordering on malicious. And I was so shocked that this guy fancied me because he just gave no indication at all.
And did you?
No.
Good.
I sort of said to him, I was so shocked at first. I sort of said, yeah. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute. And then I after about a week of dodging and diving phone calls and knocks at the door, I think he kind of got the message. But he was mean. But it really surprised me that he just sort of came out with it like that.
Oh, well, there we are. We are. We shouldn't go back too far into our inner recesses. We'll find things we don't want to remember. Thanks very much indeed. Good to talk, Vic.
Yeah, see ya.
Talk to you later. Bye. 01243 55 60 60 if you want to get on and have a chat before the end of the show. 01243 55 60 60. Email me studio@playradiouk.com. We will have, of course, now we started it last night and we will continue. We will finish the programme from now on with the Sex Pistols, God Save the Queen.
PlayTwoUK headlines.
People trying to buy a house may be given a break from one of the most unpopular charges. Stamp duty could be put on hold by the government. 1 in 3 11-year-olds are leaving primary school lagging behind in reading, writing and maths. SATS results have been released even though some schools are still waiting for their final marks. There are some delays at Manchester Airport after a near miss between 2 planes. It involved a Futura flight to Tenerife and a Lufthansa service to Germany. And the stakes are high for Rangers tonight as they bid to reach the final qualifying round of the Champions League. Walter Smith's men are in Lithuania to play little-known outfit FBK Kaunas.
PlayTwoUK weather.
Okie dokie, let's have a look at the weather, of course. Northern England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, going to have outbreaks of rain overnight. Elsewhere, it'll be cloudy with intermittent light rain, although some parts could stay dry if you're lucky. Later tomorrow, or starting tomorrow, Scotland, Wales and Western England will be cloudy with outbreaks of heavy rain. Elsewhere, it'll be brighter, but you could have the odd heavy shower as well. So rain and sun for practically everyone.
You're up to date on PlayTwoUK.
Ellington Lodge at the Concord Club. Take advantage of our excellent jazz dinner, bed and breakfast rates. Enjoy live traditional jazz on a Sunday evening whilst dining in our superb restaurant. Stay the night at Ellington Lodge and enjoy a full English breakfast, all for just £52.50 per person. Look out for forthcoming events on Play Jazz UK or visit our website, theconcordclub.com.
What is she like, eh?
Yeah, she's mad, isn't she?
Yeah, always on for a laugh when we go on holiday. I didn't think she'd actually do it, though, did you?
No way.
So how much did they say the hospital bill was going to be? I don't understand Spanish.
About 15 grand.
Right. Hello, Mrs. Draper, it's Stacey. It's about Vicky. She had an accident in the hotel. She should be okay, but there's going to be a big bill from the hospital. You know that car Mr. Draper was thinking about?
It can be a real problem if things go wrong on holiday, and an expensive one too. So if you're going on holiday with your mates this year, make sure you know about everything you need before you go. Visit fco.gov.uk/travel for more information.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies. Single malt made the traditional way. Visit PlayRadioUK.com and unlock the spirit of legend.
James Whale.
Yes, nearly time. Nearly time for a sip of the old Blackadder single malt whiskey. Next week you'll be able to win some on the programme as well. John Tweedy is on the line. Hello, John.
He's not there yet.
He's not there yet. You told me he was there.
I said we'll have him when he picks
Okay,
up.
right. Dassos Mina emailed me and said they should hang the bastards by their dangly bits. The woman and the man. Okay, those are the people who had starved this poor dog almost to death up in the northeast. Absolutely disgusting. James, as the other picks seem to be moving over, Malcolm Beckinsale says, he said, as the other place, the other place seems to be moving over to play radio. How about Howard Hughes and the programme he did called The Unexplained? He disappears with no explanation. Could you fill me in? Keep it up, Malcolm from Harefield. I don't know. I never really knew what happened to Howard. He did that programme once a week, didn't he? That's a possibility. Let me have a think. That's a possibility. Today is Saturday. Watch and smile. The first woman I wanted to was the nurse at school. I was about 12 years old at the time. Back then, I used to walk around with a permanent... Thank you, Seamus, very much indeed. Actually, it reminds me, I had a crush on the art... Didn't we all have a crush on the art teacher? I think we did, didn't we? Yeah, we did. No, we all had a crush.
I didn't have a crush on my A-level art teacher.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I did.
She's one of those who couldn't pronounce her R's, and I know, people's speech impediments fine. Not her fault, but it just really used to put me off about her.
But was she attractive?
Actually, no, so
no,
didn't help. We do have John Tweedy on Skype when you're ready now.
Yeah, okay. Blondie, Debbie, Harry, Farrah Fawcett from Dino. That's who he used to. I like the rest of it, Dino, but I don't think I'm going to read that. Right, so email us, end of the programme coming up, studio@playradiouk.com. Right, John, who's it? John Tweedy. Hello, John.
Alright, buddy, you alright?
Yeah, I think you were right, weren't
you?
What a waste of your time. What a waste of my time. But never mind, John. You've been with us for most of the programme, John. We should send you something just for staying power.
Yeah!
Yeah, but we won't. Okay.
He's gone.
Yeah, Aaron Barshak hasn't phoned in for a while. He normally phones in all the time. Somebody wants to know, what about Jim from Bournemouth, who was one of my regular callers, Jim from Bournemouth, particularly appalling person, but used to ring in regularly. You see, a lot of these people haven't got or aren't online. And even some people online don't actually know where the whale is, although I would have thought they would have gone to my website, jameswhaleradio.com. If you haven't been there, please go and have a look. Have a wander around. Tell me what you think of it. Send us an email. Let us know. But please tell your friends. This is where we are now, the home of talk at Play Radio UK. Log in and listen.
Log in and listen.
Log in and listen. That's good, yeah. And get yourself a Wi-Fi radio. Go into the forum and find out about the equipment and how you can listen. Quite easily. That's good. Right. What are you doing there?
Oh, John Tweedy just said that's because there's no other calls, isn't it? Ha ha.
Well, we don't get...
We've actually been rammed with calls tonight.
We have been rammed with calls, but we don't... Listen, John, or whatever your stupid name is, it takes a while because the phone calls that go into a talk show and you use... we don't have to use phone calls at all. It's quite... you don't need phone calls. It's always nice to have a few phone calls on. But phone calls are a small part of the programme. And... Internet radio is in its infancy, so there are not huge amounts of calls like you would get on can we call it terrestrial or digital radio? But eventually, I think that most radio stations and TV stations will broadcast on the net. That will be. Do you know the phone Fuhrer is beginning to lag here because I see the phone calls before she does, which is annoying me now.
Yeah, well, it's getting late.
I don't care. I better cut the programme back to 3 hours. Maybe 4 hours is a bit too long. Maybe I'll come on at 9. That little bloke with the glasses can do an extra hour. What?
I'll leave Adrian alone. He's all right.
Is that his name, Adrian?
Adrian Scott.
Yeah. He sounds bigger on the radio.
He does.
He sounds normal on the radio.
is quite.
But
short.
he does look like.
We have David and Lester on line 1.
Do we? Okay. But he does look like a leprechaun. He does look like a leprechaun.
Yes, but it's not the gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah. Don't tell him I said so. Who's on line 1?
David in Leicester.
David. All right, David. Oh, David, we talked to David in Leicester before, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We talked to him before, yeah.
I've listened to all your show, James. I wanted a prize.
You wanted a prize, listening to the whole show?
Well, almost, yeah.
Okay, well, what would you like?
A signed copy of your book?
A signed copy of the book. When I get the new books out, which come out in about 6 weeks, I'll save one for you.
That's very kind of you. How much will it be?
Free.
That's also very kind of you.
You know, it's the only one I'm giving away, that's for sure.
Well, I'm very privileged, James. Thank you.
And almost a celebrity in paperback with an extra chapter about my demise from the other place comes out in end of September.
All right. Well, I'll keep you up on that. I shall.
And some new photographs that weren't in the first book.
I never read the first book. I forgot to apologise.
You bloody well should.
Listen, I'm going away for 2 weeks, so I won't be able to listen to your show, and I shall miss you greatly.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. See you around, James.
All right. Is that it? Good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, so, what?
I think it's funny when people ring up to say, "Hi, I'm just ringing in to tell you I won't be ringing in. Bye."
Why won't he be ringing in?
Because he's away on holiday.
He can ring in on holiday. I should have said you could ring in on holiday.
On holiday as
you can
well.
listen on. Take your computer with you, or yeah. And so what Headless says, James. Oh, all right, I see.
Just your general chat. We've got some emails coming through, which I'm going to.
Okay. Let's see. This is Annika. Oh yes. Now that's a good
shout.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
First imaginary sex, guys. David Green says Annika Rice, and yeah, I you know, because when she was hot, she was hot. She had a hot bot.
And of course, Carol Vorderman, your friend, has always been a long-term thinking man's crumpet.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Carol Vorderman, yeah. And do you know, the thing, I wonder if Carol's listening. Carol's been a bit sad lately, as we discussed before, but Carol has blossomed. If you ever see pictures of Carol 20-odd years ago when she started off on YTV, mind you, we all look like that then. Now she's hot, isn't she? She is really hot. She's, Carol's coming up to, should I tell you? 50-ish?
No, don't ruin it for
all
me.
right,
Don't
okay.
ruin
But
it
anyway, you know, she is hot. She is well. Now, Carol's mum will be listening, so I have to be careful. And Carol's mum, hi sweetheart, will be reporting back to Carol, so I better be careful. So yeah, let's leave it there.
It's good.
But she's hot.
Can I want,
all right, Jean.
I want to say something.
Jean Vorderman.
Carol, which is it's a nice thing, but I want to word it in the most politest way possible.
Don't. Her mum Jean is listening.
Okay.
She listens every night. Go on. Go on, say it. Remember, her mother is listening.
Yes, there's always something
her
about
mother's
Carol
a lovely...
She's such an intelligent brain and stuff.
Yeah.
I think...
Oh, that's put on, by the way.
The thought of her shouting out maths equations while we made love in the sunset just turns me on really big time.
Oh, shut up. That is disgusting. Nick Meadows emailed me. Hi, Nick. He said, thank heavens for free speech. Very pleased to hear you're still on the air, which is very nice. Thank you very much indeed, Nick. Polish wouldn't recognise democracy if it hit them in the face. Does Playradio do any car stickers to advertise the show? That's interesting, Nick in Harrow. The answer's no. But Matt's on to promotion and stuff like that. He's going to do that. Right now, Richard Hodinot. Is this an old one? Hi, sexy. Oh, hello, Richard. My first-hand love. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yeah, my first-hand love was with the lady Servalan, I think, from Blake 7. We've done her before. I'm sorry, we've discussed that before. That's a good shout. Now that another girl in radio has joined Play, do you think it's about time some advertisements done, as nobody I talk to who liked listening to you has ever heard of Play Radio? Right, okay, it gets worse. Oh, I suppose the other lady is the phone Führer.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. We think it's a lady, we're not sure.
No, but we daren't ask.
Yeah, because we might get slapped.
Yeah.
I live near Blackpool and remember the good old Red Rose radio days with you. God, that was it was 20 years ago. In fact, I syndicated my programme from both sides of the Pennines. I was in Lancashire and Yorkshire at the same time. Get the bosses to tell the country about your new home. will tune in and get ready for your stint on the other station too. That's nice. Thank you very much indeed. So, they do need to get out and promote stuff and things like that. By the way, James Well Radio Show is brought to you by Blackadder Single Malt Whiskey. The thinking man's whiskey. Not whiskey to be rushed, whiskey to be slowly enjoyed. We promote responsible drinking.
Very true. And this is quite apt. If you could see the photo there,
okay,
I'll have to explain this.
Do.
There's two small, what looks like furry creatures with like hand puppets, but with really big grisly teeth, chasing a small kitten. Small pussy, leaping across daffodils. And at the bottom, it's got a slogan that says, "Every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten."
That's appalling. That's from Robin.
Yes, but I've seen these before. They're very funny. They're very funny.
Yeah, now Mrs. Wells got a collection of these. Why would God kill a kitten when you get one off the wrist? I mean, why?
I suppose that's a religious thing, isn't it?
Is it?
It's fundamental religion. Religious people.
Can we, whilst you brought masturbation up, and I wasn't talking about that, I was talking about first imaginary love. You brought that into it.
But it kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, very funny. Masturbation, and we talked about this on previous shows.
Yes.
Is good for your prostate. And an interesting thing, I mean, prostate cancer is a cancer that affects a large proportion of men. Obviously, women don't have a prostate, so it can't affect them. Prostate cancer is one of the cancers that can be dealt with really well if you get it. But surgeon was talking on the show and saying, the odd hand job is very good. For it. I don't know why. I suppose it keeps everything flowing, doesn't it, regularly? Something like that.
Well, brain rushing to the head, it's also might be a release of tension.
And when you get prats from some sort of religious thing saying it's bad for you, ignore them. They just have no idea, these people.
It's actually bad for you not to.
It is bad for you not to.
Because if you're being aroused for a sustained period of time and you get what's commonly known as ball ache, it's actually bad for your health to keep that, and the doctors will actually, if you go to the doctor and say I've got ball ache, he'll say have a wank, or he might put it.
He
slightly
won't put
better.
it like that. He'll put it differently. Yeah. Seamus just sent me another email. He says I send emails to all the names in my contact list, telling them where and when to find you. Tell the listeners to do the same. That's a good shout as well. If you could, that would be great. If you've got lots of friends on Facebook, on YouTube, and stuff like that, please tell them all. Monday through Thursday now. Talk Radio on Playradio. James Well Radio UK as well. JamesWellRadio.com. I tell you what, I think I might put Mendoza through on my website as well.
Okay.
Yeah, he put it through on his website, won't he?
Yeah, of course.
Big fat Mendoza website. Wednesday and Thursday, Mike Mendoza joins us here at Talk. I'll just backtrack over that at Playradio UK. Right, don't go away. We'll be back.
Sunday night just got better on PlayTwoUK.
If you're tuning in to hear me, Barry from Watford, well, you're too late. But you can listen to what I had to say on PlayRadioUK.com/podcast. I was on Hershey's Half Hour.
Hershey's Half Hour. 30 minutes of top-flight entertainment expertly crammed into 2 hours. Sundays from 4 on PlayTwoUK.
Oh, well, see how you go. I won't be on next week as some other idiot, but,
Are everyday items stretching your family income to the limits at the moment? Me too. Well, I found this amazing website, comparison-plus.co.uk. It's amazing. You can compare the prices of thousands of products from all the big retailers. And what's more, it's a totally free service. You don't have to become a member to use Comparison Plus. But if you do register with comparison-plus.co.uk, you get cashback rewards, giving you even bigger savings. Don't pay over the odds. Click comparison-plus.co.uk and start saving now.
The James Whale Radio Show on PlayTwoUK with Blackadder Whiskies. Mouth-watering malt straight to your door. Visit PlayRadioUK.com and set your taste buds free.
Goody, goody, goody. It's so good. Blackadder Malt Whiskey. We thank you. Now listen. Steve Wilkinson. Hiya, Steve. The Catholic nuns and priests in Italy are following their flocks to the beach this summer, establishing an inflatable church and a beach convent in the sands to lure sunbathers. I've heard some stupid things, but, well, they'll just get the piss taken out of them anyway, won't they? The 30-metre, 98-foot-long blow-up church, it's like a big bouncy castle, do you think? Staffed by priests ready to take confessions. It's a great thing about the Catholic Church. You can go out and do anything you like, and then you just go and confess it, and you're forgiven. It'll debut on Saturday on the Adriatic coast, and organisers said there will be 4 or 5 people singing with music about God, and nighttime activities will not include Mass, though. It'll run from 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. The first attempt to inaugurate the inflatable church last month on the holiday island of Sardinia failed after strong winds forced organisers to relocate. Was God telling them something? Possibly. I have never seen a nun in a swimsuit, says Steve. Well, I've never seen a nun in a swimsuit.
Oh, I've never seen a nun in a swimsuit.
Yeah, I'd like to. But I don't know, it's just the idea. I mean, why is it nuns and tarts, vicars, nuns and tarts are always thought to be sexy? Well, the same thing, you know, you have those vicars and tarts parties, don't you?
Do you think nuns bathe themselves in their habits?
In milk, I'd heard. Ass's milk, yeah, that's what I heard.
Ass's milk?
Yeah.
Ass's milk, not ass milk.
Yeah. Annika Rice, he also says, we all agree about Annika Rice. No, we do, yeah, okay. Oscar, hi Oscar.
Hello, James.
Hello, Oscar, how are you?
I'm all right, yes. Is everything okay? Am I coming through all right?
No, you're coming through loud and proud, Oscar. I shall be in, well, I won't be. I'll be travelling through Surbiton tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah. I shall think of you as I drive through, remembering the good old days in the Surbiton Lagoon.
All right, excellent stuff. Well, I thought I'd come in on the phone today. I usually call you on the Skype.
Yeah.
I thought I'd give the phone line a try.
Yeah, well, why not? It's always nice to do it differently, I always find.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd give you a call about the women that did it for you.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah, the women that did it for you. Who did it for you?
Back in the day. Well, when you sort of talk about sexy women, I find it hard to think back all those years because the sexiest woman at the moment, I think, if I start thinking about sexy women, I find it difficult to think of anyone other than Claudia Winkleman. Because Claudia Winkleman is fantastic.
Yeah. You see, I know Claudia Winkleman's mum quite well. So
you know all the mums. You've got a shady history, haven't you?
No. People, no. Do you know who Claudia's mum is?
Eve Pollard.
That's right, yes, Eve Pollard.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And Eve Pollard and I, the first time I ever did a TV show was for Channel 4 back in the 80s, and Eve Pollard was my co-presenter on this show. I think I mentioned it in my book, Almost a Celebrity, published by Michael O'Mara, in shops now. So I find it difficult to sort of think about her in that way, I have to be honest with you. But and you should be ashamed of yourself, Oscar. You're old enough to be a father.
Well, yeah.
Uncle.
All I can say is, if you see Eve Pollard, perhaps you could put in a good word for me next time with her daughter, because I
think her daughter's happily married.
She's a bit of all right, though. Claudia Winkleman, I like her.
You do, yeah.
But
right.
The object of the exercise really was to try to think back, I think it was,
yeah. If I was going to say now, today, who would be the woman who'd do it for me, apart from obviously Mrs. Whale, who would be the woman who would do it for me today? Golly, there are loads. There are loads.
So many to choose from, yeah.
I love Myling Klass.
Not a Myling Klass fan.
Oh, yeah, I love her.
I interviewed her once.
Yeah.
Lovely girl, but for me, not attractive.
I was going to bring her down on the show next week. I won't bother then.
I did say lovely girl.
Yeah, no, I won't.
Personally, an attractive woman, personally not my cup of tea.
All right, well, I was going to bring her in next week. She was coming down. She said she'd like to come along. And no, you
when you tell her you do it with Matt, from who used to be on Rugby FM, who interviewed you, he's the guy that believes in freedom through feet.
Yeah.
Tell her that.
Freedom through feet. Well, what's that about?
We had a conversation about walking around with no shoes on at work because it was freedom through feet.
Oh, right. Okay.
She was in her pyjamas while she was doing the interview.
Excellent. Yeah. Was she there with you?
No.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry about that, Oscar. I was just.
Sorry, Oscar.
I'm just trying to think who else does it for me. I I'll think about somebody.
Jessica Alba or Jennifer Aniston and Angelina?
No, Angelina Jolie. I like Angelina Jolie. I like her.
She's a bit dirt now, isn't she?
Yeah, that's why I like
tainted.
her. That's why I like her. That's why I like it. And I've always been a fan. And I know you laugh at me. The Baywatch babe, Pamela Anderson. And I feel really sorry for Pamela Anderson because she had a lot of bad press and sort of has. I met Pamela. I did a promotion for ITV when Baywatch first came out in this country, and I took for my late night TV show. I took Pamela Anderson down to the foreshore of the River Thames in a red bathing suit. We did this sort of running along, pretending to be in Baywatch little sketch. And she really, I mean, this would be about 92, some 91, 92. She really was a most delightful person. I'm very, very sort of, it was her first break. She'd never done anything much before. But anyway, that's it. So, Oscar, I'm giving you time to think, Oscar. Has it happened or not?
No, well, I was going to say we need to be playing the game here, and the original idea was to try to think back to who your early stirrings were.
Yeah. How old were you, Oscar?
Well, I don't know how old I would have been, but obviously you're thinking back to childhood days when perhaps you didn't really know what was going on, but looking back, we sort of realised. And
of course, in your day, Oscar, it was something you couldn't talk about and something you were probably told to leave well alone.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's right. It was the days of black and white.
Yeah.
The girlies were all in black and white, and I suppose thinking back, one of the women that I did have a little bit of a thing for was Morticia Adams from the Addams Family.
She was cool. Yeah,
alluring about her, but probably from that.
Hang on, Shania Twain. I've just seen coming. She was good. I love her.
I'll tell you a fact about Shania Twain.
Careful.
6 months of the year.
Don't tell me she's a bloke.
She doesn't shave during winter and grows full body hair wherever she can to keep her warm for 6 months.
I don't believe you.
I don't
believe you.
She said it on TV.
I don't believe you. I'll ask her. Let's get her on. Shania Twain. Feel Like a Woman. Sexy song, sexy woman. How old are you, Oscar?
I'm 40-10.
50?
Yeah.
You're bloody younger than me, Oscar. You sound like an old git. How can you be younger than me?
Yeah, I sleep in the fridge, though. Keep myself well preserved.
Yeah. But I imagine you live on your own, wear cardigans, and live in a bungalow.
Well, I live on my own at the moment, but, apart from that, no, you're a bit wider than Mark. But
no? Is it a trendy apartment in Surbiton? No.
But this is Oscar, who doesn't have any kids and saved up all the money to buy his place outright before he got
to get a mortgage. So really, he sounds as if he could be gay, pretending to be heterosexual.
Maybe.
I think you're gay, aren't you, Oscar? Come out now, Oscar. Come on.
Well, you never know.
Join us, Oscar. Join us all.
There's still time, they say, Oscar.
Come on, Oscar.
Yeah. I hope to be gay if I fancy Claudia Winkleman.
Because it's the way you say it. And I don't wish to be rude about Claudia, but she's a bit of a fag hag.
Right. Well,
I think I've hit a point here, haven't I, Oscar? I think listen, I won't tell anybody if you won't.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, is there?
No, absolutely not, Oscar. I think you don't try and be something you're not.
No.
I'm supposed to be a camp as a row of tents myself.
But whatever I am now, anyway, in the early days, it was the women that used to do it for me. Morticia Adams, she was all right, and someone else from back in that day would have been Elizabeth Montgomery. Do you remember Elizabeth Montgomery?
She was the witch with the nose that went.
Witch with the twitch.
Yeah, witch with the twitch.
She was fantastic.
She was good, yeah.
Samantha Stevens. I think probably as a young boy, I would have sat watching the telly and thought, there's something a little bit nice going on there. Those skirt lines are nice and high. And
so when did it all change for you then?
Well, you're assuming it has.
Oh, sorry, Oscar. I shouldn't. I'm prying, Oscar. It's none of my business.
But don't you think we need to get back to those kind of days?
I do. I think we need to get back to those days when we were pure and sex was something we kept to ourselves and didn't talk about to anyone else. Yeah, absolutely.
Like in the 50s and
and
60s and those sort of days when the women stayed at home like good little housewives.
You miss all that, Oscar?
I just think life was better then, wasn't it? I mean, I know sometimes people say we look at the world through rose-tinted glasses, or look at the past in that way. But I think it was better. There was more of a structure to homes and life, and I just think we've gone a little bit astray, haven't we?
Yeah. So what can we do, Oscar, to bring it all back? That's the thing.
Well, we need to get women back in the home, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But you've not got one in yours, Oscar.
Well, no, not at the moment. Doesn't mean to say that I haven't had in the past, but...
No, Oscar, no. Anyway, listen, Oscar, I'll be thinking about you when I'm in Surbiton.
Okay, well, I shall be thinking about you as well.
Well, that's nice, Oscar.
Isn't that sort of...
We'll talk soon.
Almost romantic, isn't it?
Yeah, all right, Oscar. Thank you very much. Thank you, Oscar. Talk to you later. That Christina looks quite interesting. Some may say looks like a bit of a dog.
Let's call her. We're calling her.
We call her, yeah. Christina Ursula.
Australia.
Yeah. In Australia. Okay. She's Skyping us, so we're
Skyping her.
Yeah, but she Skyped us first.
She did.
How would we... What?
No, that's it. Right, we've got to wrap up because we've got to play the Sex Pistols.
Hang on. That was Rob Burnett again, pretending to be a dog from Australia.
No, that was different, because when I was calling her, he started calling us, his image popped up in front of hers.
It's very interesting, this technical. So when we get Skyped calls and we're not in a position to take them, they're saved on the machine and then we can call them back at a later date.
Sort of.
What? Well, either you can or you can't.
It doesn't exactly work like that, but I'm not going to go into it now, because we've got like 1 minute left before we've got to play the Sex Pistols to go home.
All right, okay. I'm going to have my sandwich in the car on the way home. I've got a 2-hour drive to get home.
Does it really take you that long?
Yeah.
In that car?
Yeah, well, maybe not 2 hours, but it takes quite a long time. I've got to go all the way across and then all the way up towards London and then all the way over again. Wow. You know, it takes me a good hour and a half. And if there's traffic, it'll take me 2 hours.
That's the life of a late night freelance talk radio.
I live 85 miles from here.
And that takes you that long?
Well, you can't through the little alleyways here. You can't drive fast.
You must be going the wrong way, Al. I'll get you a map for next week.
What? How long would it take you to get from here to London?
Me in my car?
Yeah.
40 minutes.
To what part of London would you get to in 40 minutes?
Well, it depends what part of London you wanted me to go to.
You would get to the M25 in 40 minutes. Yeah, no problem at all. No. What?
I get to the M25 in half an hour.
From here?
Yeah.
You get to the M25 in half an hour.
We did it on Sunday night on the way back from Luton. M25 to here, half an hour.
Breaking the speed limit? See, I can't afford to break it.
I would not like to comment.
Okay. Well, anyway, listen. I'm doing my little thing on Press TV tomorrow, and then I shall be on Bid TV Friday. You can watch that, won't you?
I'm at work.
Yeah, but you can get the TV. Go on to Bid TV, 4:30.
There's no TV here.
Well, get one. 4:30. In fact, Mr. Mendoza, when he's here, he has to have TV in the studio.
He's knackered, isn't
he has to have TV in the studio, and he has to have it on one of the girly channels, or he can't work.
To keep him up all night.
Yes. All right, Bid TV, 4:30 till 7:30. See you then. Listen, thank you very much indeed to Matt and to the phone Führer, and I will leave you as I intend to leave you every program with, of course, a record that I used to play years and years and years and years ago, which was the Sex Pistols and God Save the Queen, which I think you will enjoy. So, thank you very much indeed. If you want to suggest a guest, or if you want to leave me a message for next week's program, all you have to do is send me an email, and you can send me an email by going to james.whale@playradiouk.com, and we will talk, hopefully, very, very soon.
Missed anything?
Hello, my name's John Archer.
Hi, this is Stephen Allen.
Hi, I'm Laura Critchley.
Hello there, this is Sean Williamson.
Hello, you're listening to Stephen Grant here with Richard Hershey.
Hello, this is Steve Brodie, and if you're listening to this now, then you've missed me.
Hi, this is Tim Vine. You missed me on Hershey's Half Hour, but you can hear me again on the podcast.
Joined in the studio by the Tunics.
With the legendary David Coverdale of Whitesnake.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Out from Animals, welcome to Play Radio. Hungover Stuntman.
Helen Bowling.
Hi, this is Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy.
James Well Radio Show live on Playradio UK. So here we go. Nice to have you with us. If you want to join me, you know the number to ring. Right. Well, we've had loads of emails. Thank you for those as well.
Welcome to the show. It's just on 7 Sundays, not the Tommy Boyd Show.
Good evening. This is the spirit of John Vale. Oh, matron.
Hello, this is Chris Tarrant. If you're hearing this now, you've missed me. But don't worry, you can listen again at playradiouk.com/podcast.
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 Missed anything? Then go to playradiouk.com/podcast.
James pushed the wrong button, but don't tell him I said anything because he's gone to the toilet, so here's the Sex Pistols.